You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent Austen Show.
Hey, it was always the Jags. What's going to be the slogan this year? We've said that before, right? We move. What was the other one we had?
It just feels different this year. Just feels different.
Well, one thing it could feel different in for the Jacksonville Jaguars, hopefully, is gaining 3 feet. That was a big story yesterday when we met with Phil Rauscher, the Jaguars offensive line coach. We're going to have that conversation today, kind of a power game story here on a Thursday here in the early stages of June. And I feel like I'm a little bit at a golf match right now because we're here at Strings Sports Brewery in Springfield, and we've got ourselves a little team meeting with the employees.
Yes.
And I almost don't want to be screaming and shouting.
No, for sure. It sounds like what they're talking about is a little more important than what we're doing right now, even though the Jaguars' power is important. But it seems like a pretty, it's one of those, I think, like a monthly meeting or something. So yeah, we're just trying to mind our manners here and keep on the DL.
Yeah, this is good. And also Ronan's here, and he's reading, so I don't want to interrupt him either.
Well, yeah, his Nintendo Switch was not charged, so definitely an L on his part, but it's okay. We got some good books. We have a library card. We're all good.
Ronan, in the future, I've got power supplies here. I mean, we can charge it up as we go. It's a 3-hour show.
Now we're talking.
Always have it in the back pocket.
For sure.
Ready to go. So, Brent Martin, Austin Lane, you guys survived yesterday's show, you and him.
Yeah, it was good, man. Got a nice, a lot of comments in the chat. We had some good conversation. I was swayed a little bit in how I feel about paying the quarterback. There was a lot of things that got accomplished.
Yeah, what happened there? I was in a meeting yesterday about the Jags preseason. I don't know how much you told everybody. I was down at the Jags facility for a long time yesterday.
See, was it a luncheon? Was it a gala event? Because we were kind of debating what we should call it.
It was like this, what we're looking at. It's basically a round table of we have a preseason production crew that comes out and does the 3 games that we air on CBS 47, Fox 30, the Jaguars and us, and we've been working together with this group for almost a decade now. So we just they fly in, we have a meeting, we work out some of the things that we're trying to improve on and just check the boxes. And so there's a little bit of a lunch there. But it's like a couple-hour meeting. And then we had some other meetings.
Okay.
And then we had some availability with the assistant coaches. So
cool.
I saw what you guys were talking about. I was helping trying to push the topics a little bit on social media, but I never heard what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And so how did we flip you to believe that the Jags are more of a contender to the AFC South than maybe you?
Oh, that whole thing was because I just think C.J. Stroud might be doing a little too much in terms of the off-season comments and everything.
Talking a little much?
Well, yeah, because my whole point is name a young quarterback who talked a lot, who kind of went on Barstool and all this stuff. Going into his second year, worked out well for him.
Okay, and so on top of that, you then change your tune a little bit on Trevor Lawrence and the dollars, or
no. So this start with Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh yeah,
because he's
kind of ticked off a little bit. Sound like.
Yeah, but he's going to be a top 5 paid quarterback in the NFL. I think that's going to be obvious. And what it came down to me was everyone saying how he doesn't earn. I mean, and Trevor can fall in this category too, but I think Tua even more, where it's he doesn't deserve top 5 money. And then I was kind of swayed due to a friend who's a giant Dolphins fan. Basically said, I'm looking at it through my eyes of a national media pundit, where it's is he a top 5 quarterback? No, but Miami's not paying him to be a top 5 quarterback. That's not what the money says. The money says is that you're our franchise quarterback. We value you that much, so here's some top 5 money.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting, and I only kind of saw a couple minutes that was tweeted out of too, and I think the headline maybe said a little bit more about a little frustration, but that's what I was talking about earlier this week about Trevor, where everything seems so amicable. And everybody's working on the same way, and it doesn't seem like there's hostility. Now, will that get there if they don't have something done by camp, and then you go into the season that's hanging over both heads?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility? Maybe, but it feels like they're already there. Now, the timeline's different for Tua, but that's exactly what I was talking about. These things can get frustrating, right? They can get a little... What do you mean, right?
Yeah.
What do you don't want to do? You hear some things you don't want to hear, probably.
Absolutely.
And these are guys, by the way, for the quarterback spot. And most of the time, in their life, in their football life, they've been propped up. They've been like, "Hey, you're the best. You're the best. You're the best." Well, all of a sudden, you hear some, "Hey, you're not the best." We actually got a little bit of that yesterday, talking to some of the assistant coaches. Think like a Tank Bigsby. Jerry Mack was talking a little bit about this. You got to think, for the first time in Tank Bigsby's life, things didn't go well on the football field, most likely, right? We said about Trevor year 1. So, I mean, these are real things that affect emotions and impact. These guys are not robots.
Correct.
But I do appreciate where the Jags are at.
Yeah.
With the Trevor thing and where Trevor's at.
Yeah.
Where this looks so like in line to be working towards something and get something done. I do think that can hit a different level if they don't get something done, because now all of a sudden, what if you don't play as well? What if everybody's still talking about it in November? You know, those things certainly can create other narratives and feelings around the organization with a player.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to essentially have 4 quarterbacks here, maybe this year going into next season. We'll see when it goes down, but you're going to have Brock Purdy, you're going to have Jordan Love, you're going to have Tua Tagovailoa, and you're going to have Trevor Lawrence. Maybe I'm missing somebody, but to me, those are the big 4 quarterbacks right now that are getting new contracts. And I think the narrative is going to be, once that happens, of, you know, that's a lot of money going to a certain guy that maybe he's not a top 5 quarterback. And like I said, I just think it comes down to how much does that team value him. And if you look at Trevor Lawrence, you look at Jordan Love, you look at Tua Tagovailoa, if you look at Brock Purdy, is there a better option? No. Are you going to get somebody in the draft? No. Okay, then. So that's your franchise quarterback. So pay him accordingly, pay him what the market says, and move on. Like, I'm just getting ready for the avalanche, the storm that's going to happen when all these guys get paid top dollar.
Yeah, and, you know, there's some interesting – I think Delphonic, who, by the way, good morning, Delphonic, and yes, I was tweeting late last night. We'll probably talk a little bit about that, but just getting some thoughts out that I didn't think we'd get too deep into on the show, but maybe we'll at least brush.
How late is late, Brent?
Well, it's not late for me. It might have been late for Delphonic. I mean, it was like 12:30. Like, that's not late for me. Okay. So I've tweeted way later than that. But he also said the best line yesterday. Hamby said you got swayed. See, you said that.
Well,
and good morning.
There's something. Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll talk about why I was tweeting maybe in just a little bit. I think this is going to get into a little. I have this in the title today, and I'm wondering if people are wondering.
Okay.
We have a little. There seems to be a little bit of a Jags media debate. Like, so yesterday we were gathered around these coaches, and we obviously have some conversation with guys. And the way we've been doing the show, I haven't been seeing these guys out at OTAs because it's right during our time. And so we're just talking about things from Trevor's contract to who's calling plays to other things. And we'll get into that part a little bit later. But I thought Delphonic brought up something that is interesting a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to give him a shout out now that I see his name and that you just said what you said. And that was, he was talking about the percentage of the cap. And when you look at the percentage of the cap, if you think about the numbers that Delphonic had at the time, and I remember Hamby putting up the tweet, and he was talking about, who was he talking about? Daniel Jones versus Joe Burrow versus where like $53 million would fall for like Trevor Lawrence, right? Because we thought that annual, that's the number we're hung up on. But does it make more sense for the players' side of things or even the organization to be hung up on that percentage number? And to your point, when you see the Tua price tag, right, and you take the percentage in play, well, inflation has happened in the NFL. We've seen the cap go up, which is automatically going to boost that number. Which means if like a Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes or somebody did that deal now, their number would be way higher.
No, I mean,
but they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, that's any business. So that's why, like, I mean, I get, like, what percentage of the cap are you making if you're a quarterback? But I don't look at it like that. I just look at it like, okay, Joe Burrow right now on a yearly basis is the highest paid quarterback. Are you going to match him and be right below him? Okay, great. Like, you're not going to reset the market if you're Tua at $70 million a year. Like, that would be absolutely insane. But if it's 54, 55, and the percentage is better, then good on him. But, like, I just think it comes down to who's the highest paid quarterback right now? Joe Burrow per a yearly basis. Okay. You making more than Joe Burrow? 55, maybe not. 54, okay. There you go.
Yeah, I don't think there's a chance it doesn't come down to that. There's a chance it does. I don't know where it shakes out. I don't know who wins that percentage battle, guaranteed money battle. Like, what's the most important number is going to be the key. Again, referencing Delphonic's tweet on the percentage stuff, we got to look at annual average per year. We also look at maybe the player and agent thinks of guaranteed money and also thinks of bonus money right up front, how that impacts your cap, what you have space for. I know the guys yesterday were talking a little bit about like Jared Goff's number, how much money he got in that bonus. I think that first year or that signing bonus, that will impact how you do the cap. So what number is important, I think, is an interesting deal as this deal shakes out later this summer.
Who do you think out of Brock Purdy, out of Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, who's getting the most money?
Okay, so which money do you mean? Just overall deal?
Yeah, like
or per year.
Yeah, I mean per year.
Because again,
yeah.
You're stuck on per year. I'm saying there's 15 other numbers that could be more important.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously Patrick Mahomes has the biggest contract of all time.
Yes.
That's on a 10-year basis, including the signing bonus. To me, what I look like is the yearly basis. Like, I don't think how much signing bonus money you make, how much money you make up front affects the salary cap. Because I'm always concerned about the salary cap more than anything.
Well, the signing bonus and that initial one will certainly impact the.
But I'm saying on a yearly.
But on a yearly
how much
basis,
you make on a yearly basis of your salary, to me, affects the salary cap the most. So that's the number that I'm concerned with. Like, for instance, Joe Burrow makes the most money, so it's going to affect the salary cap of the Bengals the most. Probably why they cut Mixon, and probably why T. Higgins won't be getting a new deal, and will probably go to Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
So out of that, who do you think is going to get the highest yearly contract?
And you'd say Trevor, Tua, Purdy, and who's your other one?
Jordan Love, who is in negotiations right now at the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. Obviously, that ticked up, it sounds like, this week. And now it might be even a little bit of a race, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The last one done.
Yep.
I'm going to say in that scenario, average annual per year, I think Trevor. I think Trevor. And the reason why I say I think Trevor, I think there's more upside to buy into with all those guys. And it's debatable. We've had these conversations, whether it's Jordan Love. I don't think most people would say Tua or Brock Purdy in terms of upside of player. I mean, the ceiling is higher for Trevor, right?
Sure, but Tua just came off of a year where he was the league's leading passer.
Yeah, but I and that's fine. I just still think if you're buying Tua or Trevor for the next 5 years, I still think people are taking Trevor.
No, and I agree with that. But once again, getting back to my point yesterday, like, stats have to mean something, but it's how much does that team value that player?
That's right.
I mean, if I'm the Miami Dolphins right now and I look at the numbers that Tua Tagovailoa put up, and I don't care who he's throwing to, the numbers still speak for themselves. And last year he was the NFL's leading pass leader. How isn't that justified to be getting, the most money?
Yeah, and so you just said something that's very interesting, what the organization believes. Well, obviously, to me, outside looking in, there feels like there might be a little bit of frustration or at least negotiating more in the Tua situation, which tells me that the organization isn't completely all in. Here's a blank check. Mm-hmm. I feel like the Jags are not in blank check mode, but for the context of this conversation, kind of in blank check mode. They're like, we believe in you. With probably less of a resume. So does that guy have the more leverage to be able to pull off the most money, per year? Mm-hmm. And that's why I think he probably does.
Gotcha.
And that's another thing. Like, how much leverage? That's one of the debates we were having, and I don't really know if it was a debate. How much leverage does Trevor have versus the team in this deal? That's going to get done, that if they get everything done by the end of the summer.
I mean, when you look at, leverage can mean different things. You look at Trevor Lawrence and leverage of stats. He doesn't really have those because you can compare other quarterbacks. People love to make the comparison of the whole Gardner Minshew thing, first, 50-something games, and Trevor Lawrence. So maybe you don't have the stats in your corner, but what you do have, number one, is still the hype, because I think people still believe in him, like everybody around town. But number two, you have the fact of, all right, Urban Meyer maybe ruined my first year. All right, your offensive line didn't protect me. All right, I had an injury that I still played with. All right, the receivers got hurt last year. So it's not necessarily pointing to the stats of the numbers, but it's pointing to the stats of, look what I had to go through. I'm still here, and there's still expectations of me to grow.
Yeah, and this is kind of where we landed, and I kind of agree. If when the Jags kind of have gone to the table and be like, hey, we want to get a deal done now, didn't that show their hand like we believe in you? So it really slides a lot of the leverage toward Trevor. And some of those things are right. Because what I would ask a little bit on this same situation is what the fans have asked, some have asked, I think you've even asked, is why not use the power of waiting? The Jags have the power of waiting if they want to, but they actually relinquish that say, let's try to get a deal done. So they could have played, hey, we don't need to do this. But instead they said, no, we're in. We want you here. Now, they still could pull back on that. They still have one little advantage here in this negotiation.
The deal has to be right.
Yeah, the deal's got to be done, or they can wait before things go crazy and get hostile or whatever else. And the deadline really isn't for another 2 years to get this done because of the fifth-year option. But the Jags could wait until after the season, see how he does, and maybe the money moves. But they seem like they've already committed their hand to say, hey, we want you, which, in my opinion, slides a lot of that leverage over to Trevor.
No, I agree here. Well, once you say, hey, we want to work out a deal, and you don't get that deal done, if I was a player, that would kind of rub me the wrong way a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
and maybe the locker room.
And maybe the locker room the wrong way as well. Yeah, I mean, business is business. I think a lot of guys in the locker room can separate business from, playing on the field and everything. But yeah, once you show your hand, you kind of got to follow through with it, especially with the quarterback position.
Yeah. So anyway, these are just some of the things. I'll get into the other debate that I mentioned later on. We will get to Phil Rauscher's comments. I thought he was really good. We're going to do that in a couple of minutes after we take our first break. But just your thought on before you hear from Phil.
Okay.
On how much of their short yardage game, their overall offense was on the offensive line last year.
Okay.
And with one guy, can you fix it? And I mean by that is Mitch Morse, pretty much added to the equation. And I think you have to also say probably Ezra Cleveland. He got here with 7 games to go. He was kind of banged up in hindsight, if we're keeping it real on what his situation was. They were on their 4th left guard. So really, Ezra Cleveland now here and in this offense, and Mitch Morse, is that enough to change the dynamic of what looked like an offensive line that did not play up to its capabilities or well enough? And how much were they the issue on offense? Yeah, I mean, obviously they were a huge part of the issue. Now running back vision has to come into play as well. But yeah, I mean, if you can't push your defensive lineman back a yard, I mean, that's going to fall on you. I mean, ideally what you want is an offensive line who doesn't matter if you put Tank Bigsby back there, you can put my son back there. I mean, you're going to get a yard, right? Because you have that push. And we didn't see that last year on goal line packages. We didn't see that last year on 3rd and 1s. So yeah, I think it falls a lot on the offensive line. Now, how much is that going to change with Luke Fortner, going with Mitch Morse now? I mean, I think it makes a drastic difference, right? Like we talk about the linebacker position, talk about the quarterback position. Well, essentially the center is the quarterback of the offensive line. So it all starts with him. Where are you going to set the line? How are you going to move it in terms of if somebody blitzes, things like that? That's all on the center. So I think it's going to be a huge upgrade now with Mitch Morse. And Ezra Cleveland maybe getting acclimated a little more too as well. But once again, I mean, who's to say this offense doesn't look drastically different this up-and-coming season than last year? Yeah, we'll see if it does. What Phil Rauscher has to say about that coming up on the other side. Again, he was excellent. The one thing I like about Phil, he says it how it is. There's not a lot of fluff in a soundbite. Yeah. And we asked him about Anton Harrison. I thought he was interesting. And really Walker Little, too. Where does Walker Little fit into this equation? Does he fit into the equation here in Jacksonville? I thought those comments were interesting. So we'll get to Phil Rauscher and what he had to say about getting 3 feet here in 2024. That is on the way here from Strings Sports Brewery, Brent Austen Show here on a Thursday as we wind down the first week of June. A lot of Jaguars talk coming up here from Springfield. Come on out for lunch. Doors aren't even open yet, but they'll open up at 11 o'clock, and then you can have some lunch right here with us at Strings Sports Brewery in Springfield. We'll take a break. We'll hear from Phil Rauscher on the other side. We'll talk a little bit more about that offensive line, the Jags' power run game, when we come back here in Springfield on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Everyone loves a good game night. Been in
Here,
town. Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place.
They bring the
Our
food and
place
drinks
is
to
the
you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Oh, man, it is that time. I love being outside, but it is just so hot. Oh, my gosh, I cannot be outside. Well, it doesn't have to be. As a matter of fact, I've got the perfect solution for you to be able to stay outdoors and not look like this guy.
GW Outdoor Solutions has the solution that will help you create areas of shade with their automated retractable awning. As the summer months inch closer, the high temperatures will be right there too. With GW Outdoor Solutions, go from scorching to cooling in no time with one simple push of a button. These innovative shade solutions not only provide protection from the sun and rain, but also add style and functionality to your home. Let GW Outdoor Solutions transform your backyard into paradise. Check out GWOutdoorLiving.com for your free estimate.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at NimnichtBuickGMC.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
It's hard to put a price on comfort, especially when you use that comfort on a daily basis. But if we're going to put a price on it, how does the lowest price guaranteed sound? Furniture Source is going to have the biggest brands, whether it's Ashley, Casper, or Tempur-Pedic, and once again, it's going to be the guaranteed lowest price in Jacksonville. Right now, my friends at Furniture Source are going to give you the ultimate hookup because all month long, they're making their inventory wholesale price. Check out their markdowns up to 50% off. And remember, since it's Furniture Source, you're getting the guaranteed lowest prices in Florida or your money back. Don't have the cash on you right now? It's no worry. Shop endless options to suit your style and budget and enjoy 36 months off with no interest financing. Why use your money when you can use theirs? Whether it's beds, couches, tables, or chairs, Furniture Source is going to have exactly what you're looking for. Shop the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed. Find the location nearest you at FurnitureSourceJacks.com.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. BoldCityAC.com. And they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Hey, there's a look at a busy weekend ahead. We're excited about all these new things on our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, and we just want to keep telling you all about it and how to find it, of course. Action News Jacks app, actionnewsjacks.com, and as we tell everybody, Roku, Apple TV, Google TV, Samsung TV, Vizio. You can get it wherever you stream, whatever show you stream, and I know you stream a show, so you know how to do it. Just download the Action News Jacks Now app on your big TV at home, or you can just go to the Action News Jacks app or right to the desktop at actionnewsjacks.com or your mobile device too, right there on the web. But at 6:30 tomorrow, on Friday, on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, we'll have the Jacksonville Armada game. Stuart Weber begins the coverage at 6:30. Then Saturday is kind of a cool day. We've got an Armada women's match at 2:30. Coverage starts, 3 o'clock match starts, and then at 2 o'clock is the old school Kingfish shootout. Now, because we have two events going at the same time, we'll put the old school Kingfish shootout on the Action News Jacks Now stream there on the app. And the Armada will show on the Sports 24/7 network. But they're right next to each other, so you can even flip back and see how it's going. We will be doing that to make sure it's going well. So you can too. And then we'll have replays all day on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. We started the Stripe Show podcast. We started after the game. We already had Cup Date in a week with Action Sports Jacks. We've got our show, Miller and Moulton, and we got a heck of a lineup now, and it's going to continue to grow over the next couple of months. A lot of conversations going on, Austin Lane, including when we do shows in the fall from here at Strings Sports Brewery. Of course, Jaguars All Access and some of our shows that we do in the fall that we will be able to replay. Some of them, not all of them, based on NFL video and other rules right here on the network. But we'll actually be able, we get this question a lot. It's like, hey, can we see the show if we're not in Jacksonville? Well, we'll be able to play these shows, like even Access and Countdown to Kickoff and other shows in the fall right here on the network live. Okay. The only rule you have against that, and in full transparency, is you can't replay some of those shows that have NFL video. You can show them live. Unless that changes over the next couple of months. But
it's going to be a pretty hefty fee if that,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's my little tutorial on the new network, which is now 3 months old. Believe it or not, as we head into the summer. We are live at Strings Sports Brewery here in Springfield. They're opening up another location in Jacks Beach this fall during football season. Might be football season gets going, and then they open it up sometime in September or October. I don't know exactly when they are lining that up. I think it's still a little bit too early, but they're working on it. So a new Jacks Beach location there, just a couple blocks from the beach. And then, of course, this one right here in Springfield, a couple miles from the stadium. So cool things happening here at String Sports Brewery as well. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, and Phil Rauscher. I think he's got a lot of pressure on him this year. This is an offensive line that did not take a step. This is a guy like Luke Fortner. They continue to defend, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. Defend your guys, but that's been a little bit of an issue. I think maybe we've put too much blame on just Luke Fortner. Can it be just one guy? But he certainly has been the poster child of them not doing enough in the power run game and maybe other areas. But then he also has building blocks. Anton Harrison going into year 2, who was pretty good. And then obviously Sheriff, who's a well-decorated NFL player. Yep. Ezra Cleveland, they are invested in. And he's tied to Rauscher, by the way, from up in Minnesota when he coached him there. And they said, hey, we believe in you, even with a 6-7 game sample when the offensive line didn't play well. And then they've got, obviously, Cam Robinson on a mega deal. I mean, he's got the pieces, which also puts some pressure on the coach to deliver.
No, I mean, it's giant pressure on the coach because you're essentially going to run back the entire offensive line set aside from your center. So, obviously, as a cohesive unit last year, that O-line gave up a lot of sacks, got Trevor Lawrence hurt, and was a little vulnerable when it came to 3rd and short. So this is going to fall on the coach in terms of making sure these guys can elevate their play now, and obviously with Mitch Morse being the addition, can elevate their play from what they were last year.
All right, so let's do this. Let's hear from Phil Rauscher to get into a bunch of this other stuff on Harrison, on Walker Little, and on the short yardage game. Caught up with Phil Rauscher yesterday as we had availability with all the assistants. And here's the offensive line coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
What's your approach to fixing that short yardage of the last couple of years? And how much does it need to be fixed? Is it more perception on the outside that needs to be fixed, or is that an internal focus?
I mean, one, it needs to get better, period. And I think that part of that's mentality, part of that's mindset, part of that's, you know what, we just got to run some plays and do it. You know what I mean? We got to build an identity that on 3rd and 1, like, we're gonna run this play. We're not gonna try to be cute. We're not gonna try to out scheme you. We're gonna run this play, and our guys, we feel confident, are good enough to do it. And you got to effing stop it. I mean, like, I think that we've been studying it, we've been working at it, and that's all well and good. I mean, like, at the end of the day, we got to go do it. You know what I mean? And it's 3 feet we're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, let's get better at getting 3 feet. You know what I mean? And the analytics team, a lot of resources here have done a really good job studying that. You know, it's not just us. You know, and we've been studying who does it really well and who does it against what, because, it's a mixed bag of different things of why it went poorly at different times, whether that be what we did somebody fell down, you know what I mean? And you only get so many limited opportunities, and they're so magnified because of their importance that at the end of the day, like, the perception is we're not good at it, and perception is normally reality. So let's get better at that. You know, if we convert more 3rd and 1s, we're going to be a better football team. So we just need to, again, that goes into building an identity, not being a mixed bag of stuff, and deciding we're just going to pound somebody for 3 feet.
How good was Anton, or was he good? And where's he going?
I think Anton was extremely good. I think that, I mean, if you look at rookies across the board, and going off past he did a really good job. I mean, if you really look at like his matchups and who was going against him, I mean, he went against some of the best in the league, and he did a really fine job. Now, I mean, he took his lumps early, and that happens. I mean, you got to be really happy as an organization, as a coach, as a player, on how he responded as the year went on. I think that he has the potential of really being a really great tackle here for years to come. And I think that where we're going with the run game and what we're doing is going to benefit a guy like him. You know, where he can just put his hand in the ground, get a 3-point stance, and go. You know, I think that's going to be good for him. But I think Brandon coming back is going to help him, because the continuity there of those two guys playing next to each other and different things. And I think at the end of the day, he's got an opportunity to be really foundational player for this organization.
How tough a spot is this for Walker? And how hard is that to coach a guy that, when he's played well, but there right now doesn't seem like there's room for him to play?
You know, Walker has played well, and Walker's a damn good football player. And, you know, you sit there and you're in my seat and you say, well, I got 3 really good tackles. You know what I mean? And you sit there and you're in Walker's seat or Cam's seat or Anton's seat, and you're like, shit, there's 3 really good tackles here. One of us isn't gonna be able to play. But the reality is they're all gonna play. At some point, somehow, some way, that is the reality of what the NFL is, and we're lucky for that. Walker has put really good tape on really good film on. He's got good tape, whatever. And at the end of the day, I'm sure he'll be rewarded for what he's put on tape. It's not hard to coach Walker. Walker does exactly what you ask him to do, and he does it really, really well. And I think Walker understands the importance of this season to his personal life in terms of like where the contract and different things go. But and coach has said this, and you know, perception is like, you know, the tackle positions are locked up, but like, you know, we're in a spot where like the depth chart is open. You know, we got to play the best 5, however that plays out. Now, it hasn't been like Walker's played a lot of positions for us since he's been here, and that maybe hasn't been fair to him. You know what I mean? Like, he's been to guard, he's been to there, he's been to here. Like, hey, do this, do that, and he's, you know what? Every dime he's been okay, and he goes and he does it to the best he can. So now that he can kind of put himself in one spot and let's go compete. Let's go see where we're at and see how that plays out. So there's a lot of time left before our first game in terms of competition for us, and then we can go throw it out there against somebody else.
Well, there's Phil Rauscher, and kind of told you he'd say it how it is, and I like that, and I think everybody will like that and appreciate that. What jumps out? I was there, I heard it, I've heard it now a couple of times. What jumps out to you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that we're all on the same page about how Walker Little has been treated, you know, and probably not the best, and I think he acknowledges that, and I think he acknowledges that they do have a special talent, I think, in Walker Little, and they're lucky to have him, you know. Now, whether there truly is an open competition, like, can Walker Little take Cam Robinson's job? Can Walker Little take Anton Harrison's job? I mean, that's another thing, but I do like the narrative of it's going to be a quote-unquote open competition. Now, getting back to his initial thoughts about, you know, the power run game and having that identity, I mean, I think that's everything, right? Like, with all due respect to the Tennessee Titans, because they've been the big brother of the Jacksonville Jaguars now for the past couple years, but when you look at the Titans roster the past decade, it didn't scare you, but what scared you was their identity of knowing exactly who they are. And anytime that you're a team who can implement exactly what you want to do, another team knows what you're trying to do, like with a power run game, but you can't stop it, that's demoralizing. And we saw that in the last game of the season last year in Tennessee. So I like that's going to be a focus. It sounds like this offseason is focusing on the identity, number one, but number two, establishing, hopefully, a power run game. And I'm not going to let my intrusive thoughts get involved. We're talking about the fullback position, but one could say maybe the fullback position has something to do with it as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one way to force it, right? That's one way to actually say, hey, we want to beat you up a little bit, is to bring more beef in. Now, some people do that with a defensive tackle now in that position. Can the Jags do that with a tight end in that position, or do they go get a fullback? I think they do it with a tight end, most likely. Yeah. So, because it gives you some options. There's some versatility there. I think we've already seen at camp a little bit, from Brenton Strange to Evan Ingram lining up back there, and will we see more of it? But, I mean, I appreciate this about Rauscher. He's like, it's 3 feet. Go get it, right? I mean, that's the mentality. They have to have a mentality. If you go back to when everybody was talking about physicality in the last few months, so Trent Baalke will answer that question. I ask about the strength and conditioning. Is that a problem? No, it's not. Right? So, okay, so then what do you got to do? Well, it's more of a mentality. You got to kind of preach it and talk it and breed it. Then you think about Doug Peterson. He's like, it's a physical football. I mean, football's physical, right? He kind of downplays it a little bit. I know everybody's been talking about it, but yeah, it's physical, like on every play. So what does that mean? Well, of course, we have the guys that can play physical. They believe that, or they wouldn't sign them. So now what Rauscher kind of put an exclamation point on there is, go do it. Go get it. Have the mentality that you're going to beat that guy up. They know it's coming, and you're going to win that matchup. The question is, you can have the mentality, you can preach it. Can they do it?
Well, yeah, and that's the big thing, too. Like, anybody can say, hey, let's be tougher. Well, let's be more mentally tough. Let's go get it. Like, that's easy to say. But then how do you implement it with the same guys you had last year? You know, obviously what you did last year didn't really work. So now you have to change things a little bit, whether it's harder practices. Do you have to, hit the point home of, guys, we can't be giving up short yardage. We have to be the enforcers here and push guys back. Like, what is that going to look like? I hope there's a plan in place in terms of how they go about it this year being different than last year.
Yeah, you know that better than me. You said it. Tennessee are they more physical than anybody else in the league? Maybe at times in that spots, but I
think the Ravens. There's a couple teams
they
like that.
preach that though. Yeah. Like, you've got to be a part of it. You know, when you're going to play, this is what we do.
Yep.
And so this is more about identity than it is actual physicality. Is that fair?
Sure. Yeah. I think that's very fair. I think we preached this a lot on the team last year. First 5 games through the season, when you ask me, all right, is this an offensive Trevor Lawrence-led team? Do they like to run the ball a little more? Like, what is their identity? I didn't really have an answer. But I could go to the Ravens and say, yeah, this team pounds the rock. I could go to the Titans and say, yeah, this team, maybe not good on paper, but they got Derrick Henry still, and they can pound the rock. So, and obviously a team like Miami where it's like, well, good luck trying to cover Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So I think the more that you can establish what you're trying to do in the preseasons, in spring even, the more you can take pride in that. And then when you take pride in something, all right, then you go above and beyond to make sure you see it through.
Okay, so this is interesting to me from a who are the Jags trying to be, right? Who have they been? Okay, we know. We don't know. That was the problem. There wasn't an identity. So now what are they building to be? And I could sit here, Austin, and say now after 3 months of looking what moves they've made, listening to just about every conversation that they've had publicly, and some that they haven't had publicly, I don't know if I'm fully sure they're going to commit to being as physical as they need to be. Sure, they might say it, preach it, talk it. They might bring the fullback back a little bit and add that element. They might use Tank Bigsby more to complement ETN, which would get you more physically involved. But then on the other side of things, they go draft Brian Thomas Jr. and they go get Gabe Davis. And to me, that's like, let's go play backyard football and throw it down the road.
Yeah, I hear you, but also I think you have to set that stuff up, right? Because your offensive line was a little porous last year. You improved, yes, but are you confident that you have the 49ers offensive line right now? Well, no, you're not. So then how do you get Brian Thomas open? How do you get Gabe Davis open? It's play action. I think this team is gonna be ride or die on the play action. I think you establish the run early in the game. We've seen Travis Etienne have a lot of success with that. Tank Bigsby hopefully can come along now and kind of establish more of a physical running type. And then you set that up with the play action. Because when you have the play action, you have the defense on their heels, and you have those long shot targets, you have the Brian Thomas Jr.'s, the Gabe Davis, that opens everything up. But if a team's not going to respect your run game, if your team's not going to respect your physicality, then all of a sudden Brian Thomas Jr. is going to have a lot harder time getting open. Then all of a sudden those easy shots to Gabe Davis are going to be a little more difficult.
Yeah, so it does set it all up, and you can establish it. And I think the team to look at here has got to be the Buffalo Bills to some degree. They changed. They kind of changed that philosophy. They were taking a lot of criticism for not being able to run the football. I think I gave him some criticism for putting too much on Josh Allen's plate to do, even as gifted as he is.
Yeah.
The ball's in his hands so much, the ball gets turned over. Because it's in his hands, maybe too much. The one way you can eliminate some turnovers is not to put so much onus on your quarterback, especially if he's got a little bit of a propensity to turn the football over.
Yeah.
So you can save him from himself at times, and same goes for a guy like Trevor. You're probably less apt to turn the football over on 3rd and 1 and 3rd and 2 than if you have 3rd and 6 and 7 and trying to get a first down and put them in that spot.
A team that I really like in terms of their identity and just helping out the quarterback is Los Angeles Rams. Because you hear Sean McVay, you just think of, all right, pass happy, exotic formations. You got Puka Nacua when Cooper Kupp's healthy, maybe 1-2, 1A, 1B, some of the best wide receivers in the league. But they have a guy in Kyren Williams who's probably the most underrated running back in the entire NFL, who also gets the rock, right? So they establish a dominant run game. They establish physicality. Then guess what? Puka Nacua is a physical receiver in his own right, and Cooper Kupp can kind of do that slashing, everything you can do. And then you have like a Van Jefferson who's more of that deep threat. So really, when you're defense, it's like, all right, are they going to be physical? Are they going to beat us deep? When you're asking those questions in your head when it's during the game, that's only going to make the offense open up that much more. So to me, the Rams are our team, and I think obviously the 49ers too, but do you have the 49ers pieces? I don't think any team does, right? But there's teams out there that kind of have that balanced attack a little more, that want to be physical and then surprise you over the top. And I think, the Rams and the 49ers are some of those teams.
I think it's a great point. I think that's a good thing from a perception standpoint. If we think of the Rams, we think of McVay and Stafford and Puka Nacua now and Cooper Kupp. Those are the guys we think of.
Yeah.
They've had over time now, when they went on their Super Bowl run, a very veteran and big offensive line as well. Then we think of the Bills, and you think Josh Allen, you think Stephon Diggs. You're like, how are they going to survive? They don't have Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis anymore. What's Josh Allen going to do? Well, they might, still run the football and help him out. And so I think that's an interesting, you can still feel like you're explosive and you're pass happy because McVay has that feel to him. I think Josh Allen and the Bills have that feel, and I think Doug Peterson and Trevor can have that feel, but you can still be physical and utilize the run game.
I mean, to kind of set the scene a little bit, Kyren Williams last year of the Rams had over 1,100 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns.
Yes.
Say no more. Say no more.
And he's a tough guy to tackle.
Yeah.
Tough guy to tackle. I mean, but he's got a little bit of both.
No,
which, by the way, guess who else is a tough guy to tackle? Travis Etienne.
Yeah, and I think what the plan was going to be was him and Cam Akers, but Cam Akers, gets hurt and kind of falls off a little bit. Now it's the Kyren Williams show, but it just goes to show you, when you have physicality, but you also have the quarterback and wide receivers to follow suit, it opens up a lot of things for you.
Let's do this. Take a time out here from Strings Sports Brewery, and when we come back, we'll stay on the Jags a little bit more, maybe a final thought on Anton Harrison, and I'll get into the media debate. And I'm probably overselling this thing a little bit, but I still found it a bit interesting. Coming up a little bit later on, Dan Hurley to the Lakers, it looks like. He had some very interesting comments. I was just enthralled in this 1 3-minute segment with Dan Hurley that I saw on Twitter. And is it going to be a good jump for him to go from UConn to the Lakers? Should he stay at UConn? What's the risk-reward for a guy like Dan Hurley now, as that rumor is very prevalent here today that they're working on a big deal to send him to L.A. Plus, the NBA Finals do start tonight, so we'll talk a little bit of basketball, and we'll shoot some hoops from here at Strings Sports Brewery in Springfield when we come back here on the Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Jags OTAs. Final one is scheduled, I believe, for today. It's not open to the media or anything, but this will be the last one, and then mandatory minicamp Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if they even go Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Do you think they actually practice today? Or are they going paintballing or going bowling or something?
I don't see anybody
maybe
on
go
the
see
field,
a movie?
So maybe they
go to see a movie?
It might be that kind of day. Why not?
Garfield the movie, let's go. Let's check it out.
We all have our favorite spots in town to eat, drink, and have a good time. And once in a while, we try a new spot. This new spot will soon become your favorite spot. It's 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco. Where else can you get unicorn fish? It was really good. They have local fresh seafood. Try a terrific burger or a Jack's Hot Chicken sandwich. The ambiance is perfect for any occasion. The idea here is to have fun, have a good time. Whether you're chilling out on the couches, cozying up to the bar, having lunch or dinner, it's a throwback experience. 1937, when going out to dinner was like going to a party. They even have a photo booth. Who doesn't like a good photo booth? We recently brought the entire team out to try it, and everyone said, I'm bringing my significant other here to try it as well. The new spot becomes your favorite spot. Make 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco your new favorite spot.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Strings Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Strings Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need Strings Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Strings Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
There's another look at our Armada games. We've got two of them going up on the stream tomorrow. 6:30 coverage starts. Saturday, 2:30 coverage starts at Jacksonville Armada. Men's and women's in action on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network, presented by Alive Credit Union. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane back here on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network, the Brent and Austin Show. You got the basketball stuck behind the backboard.
I did.
And Ronan ratted you out.
Yeah, Ronan snitched on me, man. It wasn't a bad shot or anything, but unfortunately just made a bad bounce, and now makes it look really bad. But on the other side, I mean, his shooting's not much better. Looking like Kyle Anderson out here from the three-point line, so I'm not sure why he's trying to snitch on me right now. But now he's playing Golden Tee.
Now he's off to Golden Tee. This is a good place for a kid to hang around.
Oh, this place is the best, man. Like when I was growing up in sports bars, like all we had was like the old school like a jukebox, and all I could press was just like, let me see the album covers and let me see how cool those things are. So yeah, he has it made with Golden Tee right now.
Yeah, so he's got a little Golden Tee over there shooting hoops. We might need to get a kid hoop in here though. That's tough to get all the way up there in there.
Well, and like he also plays like the smaller basketball too. So yeah, but I mean, hey,
maybe that's the key. Just bring in a lighter one.
Yeah, but he's got to learn. You know what I'm saying? Like if he wants to play competitively one day, gonna have to learn.
That's right. Yeah. Celtics Mavs today. We'll get into that on the basketball front coming up in just a couple moments. I'm actually very intrigued. Again, we don't talk a ton NBA. I'm kind of intrigued about this series coming up between the Celtics and the Mavs. And I'm not like a Celtics fan anymore either. That's not why. Like I used to be, but it's not like I could care less if the Celtics win.
What happened, man?
I mean, I'm not a fake fan.
Okay.
Right. So,
so you feel like you have to like follow along, or else?
Yeah,
I got it. That's understandable.
Yeah, and I just lost touch with the Celtics. I say this about my fandom. Like it was, I liked the whole Celtics team growing up as a kid. I watched Larry Bird and that group every night. Yeah. And then I went to college, and that was the end of that era of basketball. And then also a new era of basketball, and I never really just stayed in touch with it when I went to college. And then on the back end of it, never really followed through too much, like a little bit here or there, because I was working in Providence, and we actually went to some postseason Celtics games to cover them. But I just kind of lost touch with it. I say the same about the Dolphins. I was a Dan Marino fan. I thought I was a Dolphins fan until Dan Marino retired, and I was like, I don't give a damn if the Dolphins win. Like, it was really weird. It was this weird, like, why is this happening? You know, I thought I was a Dolphins fan, but I really wasn't. I was more Marino fan. The only one that's different there is the Red Sox, and I still can get a little heated about the Red Sox. But even now, I'm like, I'm more of a I'll join you later on in the season. Like I don't even know their starting lineup last night. Okay, so I know Paul Skeens and Shohei Ohtani battled more than I know whoever the Red Sox battled last night. So again, I don't jump in late. Like I really don't care. In fact, I think it might be better for basketball if Luka and the Mavs win.
Yeah, I mean, I think both teams need to be justified and win this thing. I think Jason Tatum needs to be justified, Jaylen Brown the same. But, I mean, obviously right now in terms of popularity, in terms of the trending topics, it's all about Luka. And Kyrie Irving now, too, as LeBron kind of gave Kyrie some of his flowers. So
yeah, so there's a little bit going on there. And, again, I want to get into Dan Hurley stuff with the Lakers. I think that's fascinating coming up in just a bit. But I want to put a bow on some of these things. I don't think this is a long topic. Phil Rauscher, we just heard from him, Anton Harrison. I think people sleep on this storyline. There's a lot to complain about every year. We are so hyper-focused on the Jags, and people are so mad about the end of the year, and who is it, and was it Trevor's fault? Was it the offensive line's fault? Was it Press Taylor's fault? Was it whose fault? But the one thing that emerged last year is, and I think if things do turn out well in Jacksonville, where they're winning, and this is sustained winning, we're going to look back on, I think, even some of the moves Balky made, which is an unpopular take, but how they piece this thing together. And we're going to look at a move like Anton Harrison. It's going to get dwarfed in the whole, we didn't get enough out of the draft class in 2023. And you're going to say, this dude is a really good player. And that was a hell of a move. Jawan Taylor, goodbye, replaced with Anton Harrison. And I think there's a lot of excitement about what this guy can be. And you know what I like? Is they're not going to move him around over to left tackle, at least not yet. They're going to keep him there at right tackle. I was afraid, and a lot of fans, I think, wanted this. Like, okay, see you later, Cam Robinson, move him to left tackle. No, keep him there. He just played there. He learned the position. He went against some of the great players in the National Football League. He took his lumps. And now I think he gets to evolve and even get better this year. I think he might be a hidden gem of that first round that very few people talk about because of the nature of the position.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not a sexy position, right? And it's hard to quantify how good of an offensive tackle is in his first year as a rookie, unless, PFF says, all right, well, he's got a good grade, so we'll go along with that.
Or makes a Pro Bowl or something.
Or he's a Pro Bowler. But we didn't mention Anton Harrison's name a lot last year, and I mean that in a good way, because we weren't talking about, holding calls. We weren't talking about defensive linemen blowing past him, so there is a lot to like. I think he gets lost in the sauce sometimes because at the time it may have felt like a little bit of a luxury pick when you had Walker Little, who probably could have played that spot as well. But we're sitting here talking about, Anton Harrison. There's not a lot of complaints to go around from a rookie, and sometimes a rookie offensive lineman can go through it. So I think he shined his first year. Hopefully he can build off that, and I think the Jaguars got one for a long time now.
Yeah, and that's a staple position now. And again, the right tackle position has become, closing the gap on how important that left tackle position is. And if the Jags found someone there at pick number, I think it was 26. I always forget, 26 or 27. They moved back a couple of times, but I think it was 26. I think they had 24, traded out from 25, and got 26. I'll double check. But bottom line is, you get someone in the back end of that first round who could be a staple, which, by the way, they've been able to have some success in the first couple of rounds with offensive linemen, even the first few rounds. If you look back in the last few years, Cam Robinson, second-round pick. Jawan Taylor, second-round pick. Walker Little even, second-round pick. Brandon Linder, third-round pick. So they've had some success. Now, I know it looks like they missed on Fortner in the third round, but if they, from pick 25 to about pick 65, there are 4 or 5 really good players they've found over the last 6-7 years in Jacksonville.
Well, Brandon Linder wasn't a bulky guy, though, right? He was before.
No, that was before. I'm going way back.
Oh, wait, right, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
There might be more. But those are the ones that jump out.
And I've said this before. I think that the one missing factor now is who's the guy going to be in the later rounds. Who's the guy that you took 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th? That ended up being a surprise and really has contributed to your team.
And we think that could be, again, there's some candidates here. They just drafted a 4th-round guy, but they also have a guy like Cooper Hodges, who I think they were really high on. Now, what does that mean? I have no idea. It's from Baker County, 7th-round pick, App State. If he ends up being good for them, if you pencil him in next year after Sheriff leaves, assuming he leaves, and he can play that right guard position, that's the guy you're thinking of. All of a sudden you find that gem, right? That diamond in the rough. It's like, whoa. Okay, that's cool. But traditionally, left tackle, right tackle, you have to find in the top 10 picks. A lot of people spend top 5, top 10 picks on. The Jags might be able to find theirs without doing that, is kind of the moral of the story for me. Yeah. And who knows? This guy might be really, really good. Like if you look up, some 5 years down the road, I think a lot of this has to do with the Jags' success, though. Good offensive line play is usually rewarded, or good offensive linemen are rewarded when your teams are good. So there's no way this guy can go to 4 Pro Bowls if the Jags are middling around at 8-9 and 9-8.
Well, no, agreed, but also it comes down to, if your quarterback's a Pro Bowl, that's only help you out as well.
Yeah.
I think that the direct correlation of a great offensive line is the quarterback play. And if you have a great quarterback, you're going to have a good offensive line.
Okay, so here, let me get to the Jags media debate again, which I'm probably overselling a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be like something like, should Gene Fournette pop his collar this year? Or what are we on right now? Because he should.
Actually, this might be better.
He should.
What should the Jags media debate be?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't hang around everybody too much to know.
Well, I know, but you just gave a good one right there.
Well, I was being funny. What should the Jaguars meet? I don't know. You're throwing me for a blank here, man. Go with the Gene Fournette pop the collar thing. I don't know.
All right. So I don't know what it should be either. Yeah. But here's what it is. So, as you know, I'm locked in on this play calling question all the way back to the combine. So it's starting to become a thing.
Okay.
In the media room.
Okay, like joking around
a little bit. I don't. For some reason, I've got my name attached to it. Right, okay. So because I've asked it at several news conferences, at several settings, and even I think we played a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, people are asking on your behalf now as well.
Yeah, Mike DeRocco's asking, he's dropping my name, he's giving me credit for a topic, which shouldn't be done, DeRocco. Come on, I don't need credit for it. I'm going to steal all your stuff. Don't worry, and I'm not giving you credit for it. But I don't know. First of all, do you think I'm overdoing this? Because I don't feel like I am. I'm not trying to intend. We're just waiting on the solution, right? The end result. Nobody slammed the door shut on the topic.
Sure.
Fair enough. The topic until the answer.
Is that the debate?
No.
Okay. No, for sure. Yeah, keep asking it because it's obviously a big storyline this
Like, you don't feel like you know the answer. That's my point, right? We don't have a solution to that answer.
No, I mean, the whole point of, I feel like, being a journalist or being in the media is to get the unanswered questions. And right now, one of the biggest questions going on with the Jaguars is who is calling the plays this year.
So this is where I go with it. I think if you ask some people in the media, again, I'll set the scene for you here. When we go talk to the assistant coaches yesterday, there's probably, 15 to 20 media members, that cover the Jags on a pretty normal basis, I would say, from TV stations to radio stations to print to like guys like John Shipley at SI and others like that. So people and follow probably and consume Jaguars content with. So after we do that, we'll talk a little bit, or people will talk. And there was some debate yesterday still of who's going to call the plays. And there are some that are just convinced that it's going to be Doug Peterson. And then there are others that are convinced, like, what are you talking about? It's definitely Press Taylor if you add up what everybody's saying. There wasn't a lot of mud in the middle of that. There wasn't a lot of like, oh, yeah, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, maybe you're right? Sure. It was kind of like there's like a fence, and you're either on this side of it or you're on that side.
It's becoming political.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, that's what it is, man. Yeah.
I feel like it's still more muddy. I feel like there's two ways to look at it. It's like who's going to call the plays and who should call the plays. I've obviously posed the question of why I think it makes sense for Doug to call plays, or why if I was upper management, I'd say, shouldn't you be the guy calling plays? I think that's out there already, and I think maybe many of us agree. My beef, just to go back, is not with Press Taylor. It's more about what I think Doug Peterson does very well, kind of like Andy Reid. I don't think anybody had a beef with Eric Bieniemy. I think Andy Reid just did it really well, and so why not do it? But I also, I'm of the mindset that I don't think it's going to be Doug. If I have to handicap how this is shaken out.
Correct.
Because even now, like if you ask like Mike McCoy, which we'll get to tomorrow, next week, some of the conversations we have with assistant coaches, Mike McCoy, where he's like going through talking about plays, because I was just asking him about the dynamic of it, the structure of it, everything else. And without hesitation, Press. Trevor. Without hesitation, Press. Like, it's Press Taylor. And Press Taylor is going to be calling plays, in my opinion. Like, I think we do know the answer, is my point.
Yeah, I think we do know too. I mean, he's essentially asked two questions. Who should be calling the plays? Well, obviously Doug Peterson, because one play caller has won a Super Bowl, one play caller hasn't won a Super Bowl. So I err on the side of the Super Bowl winner and Doug Peterson. But I agree with you. I think Press Taylor will be calling the plays because of what Trevor Lawrence's comments have said. I think Trevor Lawrence is the creature of habit, and he wants consistency. And I think Press Taylor's, voice in his ear brings him a little more comfort than having to change it all around again. So I agree. I think it's Press Taylor.
Yeah, I wonder. Maybe I'll put a poll out there today too, and see what people think, like how people are interpreting the situation. Because I will say this: a couple weeks ago, before I start hearing from more of the guys, like, again, just second nature saying Press his name, or even Press talking, or Trevor talking. Trevor, to me, is a big part of this. If Trevor is comfortable with that, why change it? Maybe that's the overriding thing. Maybe Doug feels like, I probably should take him back, but Trevor's comfortable here. We're going to keep it with Press. Like, that actually could be part of the solution to this internally, because Trevor likes it and is comfortable with it, and doesn't seem like he went to anybody and was like, hey, we got to change this.
Yeah.
So there's but a few weeks ago, I was like, Doug keeping this door open says he's going to come back and call the plays, because it just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But now I've kind of shifted on it.
I mean, the one frustrating thing is that with this topic, that there's no way of knowing until we actually find out and they announce it. It's not like, hey, are you guys going to be a 3-4 defense or 4-3 defense? It's like, oh, well, we can go to practice and see what you guys are doing. We can see how you're implementing your defensive tackles and all that. It's like there's no breakdown to this debate. There's no breakdown to this conversation. I mean, we really have no idea. We can go off of what Trevor Lawrence says and kind of take him at his word, but even then, that can be kind of cryptic every once in a while, just in terms of like how we interpret everything. So until Doug Peterson or Press Taylor comes out and says, I'm calling the plays, we're not going to know.
Yeah, I hear you, which goes back to, okay, why don't we just say it, what it is? What's the debate? Like, who cares? Like, I mean, are people scouting the play caller?
I think there comes the gamesmanship.
It is a little bit of that?
I mean, that's what I think Doug Peterson, Press Taylor think. Now, like, will it make a difference? Me personally, no, but coaches, you know, they think they can get any competitive edge, and I think Doug Peterson thinks that, hey, if we keep this under wraps as long as possible, that can help us out.
So part of this debate, by the way, and their reasoning behind it is you talk to a segment of the media that'll be like, well, he's so loyal to Press Taylor. This is what got him fired in Philly, and he's so loyal to Press Taylor. There's a logic behind that I don't subscribe to, and that is these guys' jobs are on the line. They want to win. Like, hey, man, I'm loyal to you too. Like, what? But there are just some things that you can't maybe do to make this successful. As loyal as I want to be.
Okay, but if winning was the priority, then he would have took over play calling last year when it wasn't going so well.
Or he just didn't think that was the problem.
I mean, the offense was left, you know, a lot to be desired last year. What would the problem have been?
Well, the offensive line.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. I'm not sure he thought, and again, maybe he's blinded by that loyalty to this, that play calling was the issue. Now, there are probably some, obviously everybody in town thought it was, but that's just because any time an offense doesn't work, it's the play calling. See, I just don't. I get the loyalty. I get wanting to help a guy out. I've given you guys my example of this. I thought the big mistake the Jags made here, and I'm going to say the Jags, but I think it was Doug Peterson. I believe it was Doug Peterson. Some people think it was Press Taylor's camp. Heck, maybe it was Trent Baalke for all we know. But whoever leaked it out on that Sunday morning before the opener kind of set the table for what was to come and say, nobody leaked it out in the Chargers game when Doug called the first half and they had 7 points on the board, and apparently Press called the second half and they come back and win. Like, that's the way this has been pitched to us, is that he called second half action most of the games in 2022. I think the other part of how much do you believe the loyalty is a factor here, and just how steadfast is that the reason why Press is calling plays? I would also ask, how true is it that Press Taylor called the plays in the second half in 2022? That seems such a weird dynamic.
Yeah, I have no idea about that. But I do know that loyalty in the NFL is a thing. And I've spoke on this many years ago. And I'm not calling out Press Taylor here. I think Press Taylor is fine. But I'm saying, you know, from my experience, what I've encountered in locker rooms, the most successful position coaches and coordinators aren't in the position to be that because of other guys who have taken their job that are more friendly with the head coach or friendly with the GM. And any player, past, former, whatever, can tell you that. Any current player could probably tell you that. Like, there's guys out there right now that have the resume to be a great defensive coordinator, to be a great offensive coordinator, to be a great position coach. And maybe they're an assistant, maybe they're trying to earn their stripes, but they don't get their opportunity because, well, this coach knows this one person. So he gets the opportunity. That happens all the time in this league. And I get we want to sit here and say that, yeah, it's a performance-based business. Wins and losses are all that matter. Yeah, it's one of the major things, but also relationships, too, are pretty important in this league as well.
Yeah, I get it, and I think you're right on that. Z Fortner says this, and I'm kind of with him. I don't know why it took me so long to get to this, and this is what this conversation's evolved into, because I know you guys have listened. We've had it a lot. I do think it's one of the bigger stories of the offseason, so that it's kind of like the Trevor contract, right? You can tune into a show, and we're probably going to talk about it at some point during the course of the week. I mean, these are big stories in Jacksonville. But Z Fortner says, always thought Doug saying he called first half and Press called second half was a little crazy. Like, who does that? And I'm with you, man. Like, to me, that sounds so bizarre. Now, we are also really technically diving into every word of that. And I think there are probably some semantics here at play when these guys think the same way, have been around each other, would call a similar play anyway. That chemistry is so good between maybe Doug and Press and the head coach and the offensive coordinator that they kind of do it together, but they assign it when, like, in front of a microphone to, that was me, that was you. You know, there might be some semantics in all of that, but it's still kind of crazy that Doug said that in the Indianapolis game, because the report came out. After the Indianapolis game, we asked Doug about the play calling report.
Yeah.
And he said that was his response at that point. He's like, yeah, you guys didn't I mean, you might not know this, but like, he called second half plays in 2022.
Okay, so number one, do you win games that way? Does it make sense from a quarterback to have two voices in your ears for two Fs? No, it doesn't. But once again, this goes back to relationships, right? Think about where Doug Peterson has come from. He's come from the Andy Reid coaching tree. How long did it take for Bieniemy to get a head coaching job in the NFL? Because, well, essentially Andy Reid was calling the plays, because we all thought it was Andy Reid's show. And you had a guy in Bieniemy who Andy Reid tried to champion, who a lot of people tried to champion, who couldn't get a job for how long? You had the best offense in the NFL for how many years, and he was the offensive coordinator, but he wasn't calling the plays and didn't get an opportunity. Now, look at Doug Peterson. He comes in, all right, maybe he calls the plays, he has success. Keep in mind, him and Press Taylor are really good friends, and I'm sure more than anything, Doug Peterson wants to see Press Taylor get a promotion, maybe become a head coach one day. Well, how do you do that? Do you say, hey, Press, I'm calling the plays, you just stand there, hold a clipboard, and like look like you're doing something, or do you get involved and help with the play call?
Well, by the way, and I like that you said that, because that's time I didn't have to say it. But I believe that of what you just said is almost like a good intention. I get what he's doing. I understand growth in the NFL more than loyalty to Press Taylor. I think there's a separation there. I think that you could have done if it was Mike McCoy. Now, I understand there's a special relationship there, but because I piggyback what you just said with one other thing.
Okay.
And I think this is a significant part of all of it. If you really break down every step of this play calling journey over the last couple of years and where we're at with it, he blocked Press Taylor from talking to Baltimore about a position. And my belief is when you do that, you basically said, listen, guys, we're bringing in you and Mike McCoy, Press and Mike McCoy, and we're building some infrastructure around this young quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, who just had a tough rookie year. We need to develop him. We need to teach him. We need continuity around him. And when you did that, you said, handshake agreement or whatever else, if somebody comes after you, I got to keep you here for another year. Like, we need at least 2 years together to do this.
Okay.
And so, unless it's like a head coaching job, because then I think you can't anyway. You can't stop that. But that's what I believe was kind of this handshake agreement. And so on top of that was, all right, if I blocked you from maybe going to Baltimore, working with Lamar Jackson, whatever it might have been, or even that opportunity, what it could have morphed into, then here's what else I'm going to do. I think we're about to take off. You did a good job calling some of these plays in the second half. I feel like we're in sync, and we're about to go score 30 points a game. Your name's going out there now, so you can take that next step in your career, all the things you just said.
Yeah, I mean, it's simply what it comes down to. I think Andy Reid knows that he's the best play caller, that he's the best situation for the Chiefs to win, so he never let Bieniemy touch the play calling. You know, regardless of what the optics look like, regardless of how it maybe hampered Bieniemy's career a little bit in terms of getting a promotion just because Andy Reid was doing his thing, I think Doug Peterson has a different philosophy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I've been saying that now for ever since like last year. I believe that to be the case too. And I do think there's a lot of semantics in this. I think some folks just said it's a collaboration. I agree with that. I get that. There's a lot of that in football to begin with. Keep in mind, in that Chargers game, which is fascinating, right? Like, if you're Doug and now, Doug did say this in his opening press conference. He said, if it's not working for me, I'm going to hand the plays off. Go back to his opening press conference when he got hired by the Jags. He's like, I'm calling plays, but I also, if we're not in a good rhythm, I'll hand it off. Like, he said that. Well, the Chargers game actually comes to mind for me. It wasn't working. They weren't doing good things. Now, some of that was Trevor, some of that was play calling. It was clunky. They were down 27-0. Maybe he did hand it off. Prescott in a good rhythm. They ended up winning. But what I wanted to add here is the guy that made maybe the most critical call of that football game, and there were probably a lot of them, but the one we remember on 4th and 1 was actually a Phil Rauscher suggestion to run that play. The offensive line coach, who obviously isn't involved in the play calling. So Z Fortner says collaboration. That's what collaboration looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Mike McCoy probably suggests some plays in certain spots as well.
No, for sure. No, I hear you. To really to summarize what I've been saying, I just hope that what it comes down to is you're setting this team up for success, right? I hope the main focus is wins and that relationship's like, I hope the main focus is trying to go to a Super Bowl and not trying to build up your LinkedIn page and help a person out. Like, that's what I hope happens. Yeah. Now, if Trevor's more comfortable with pressing his ear, then so be it. But I hope that's the reason why, and not, hey, I got a really great friend here who deserves an opportunity. I'm going to help him showcase his skills a little more. Go ahead and call the plays.
And that part of it, Austin, I get there's a sentiment of people that think that way. I don't buy that. I just don't. I get loyalty. I get friendship. I get coach's tree. I get all that stuff. I don't buy it to the degree of putting winning at risk.
Well, then what? So then, why does Andy Reid not give up the headset? Why does Kyle Shanahan not give up his play calling? Why is it just Doug Peterson? Because Doug Peterson's won a Super Bowl, and he's given up the play calling.
I don't have a good answer for that. I don't know. Are they? I don't know. Are they too type A? Are they too? Do they not trust a guy like he trusts Press? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Are they not as in sync? I mean, maybe Press and him are so much in sync. Like, I take away the friendly nature of this. I mean, one guy's 55 and one guy's like 34 or something. Like, I get you can be friends at that, but it's not like these are childhood best friends. This isn't Gus Bradley and Todd Wash. And I think even at some point, I think Gus had to fire Todd. Right? I mean, like, it happens in the business.
I just think if you're a great offensive mind, you're a great offensive coach, you almost like fight tooth and nail. I mean, Sean Payton, Sean McVay. They're not giving up the headset.
No.
Even when sometimes they look like, hey, Sean Payton, maybe give up the headset a little bit. No, like that's his. He earned that. He's not, regardless if it's friends, brother, doesn't matter. Like, I'm calling the plays. It's my job. And once again, not to point fingers or say you're doing it the wrong way, but Doug Peterson hasn't done that.
Yeah, why are you doing it different, right?
Correct.
Like, from all those guys. Again, we're not debating that part. I mean, this guy still says, like, I asked the question at the combine, I haven't wavered from that. I think the logic says he should. And that's with no disrespect to Press Taylor. I'm not necessarily a guy that thinks Press Taylor's bad at it. I think the Jags could have executed better. But I also think when this is such an important year, if I'm Doug, let's just let ego play a little bit and say, we ain't losing because of this, or I'm going to take ownership of it. If we lose, it's going to be on me. That's another way he could protect them, to be honest. He said, we're going to go down. It's going to be on me, not on Press. Right? He could do that.
Yeah.
Or it could go the opposite way. If it goes down, it's on Press and throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
So it's just a wild dynamic. But again, this I just found it interesting yesterday. I'm talking to our media brethren, if you will.
Yeah. That
there was some. It was like you're on this side of it or you're not on what's going to happen. Not really what should happen, but on the what's going to happen. And so, I mean, we're 3 months into this, basically going all the way back to February. Maybe now 4 months in. And we don't have a solution, and I think we're still kind of a little bit back and forth on what's actually going to happen. And to your point, I think you make a good one. We probably won't really know until sometime in September when they kick it off for real. Let's take a break. We come back on the Brent Austen Show, Strings Sports Brewery here in Springfield on a beautiful day here in Northeast Florida. Doors are open. Come on out for lunch. And, well, you can't get your weekend started on a Thursday. Maybe you can, but we got to work all the way through Friday. So no getting that done. And then it's on the vacation, at least for one of us after that. Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. We talk a little NBA. Dan Hurley, should he go to the Lakers or not? And I think you're going to love the reaction on a question from Dan Hurley about offense in the NBA. I found it fascinating. I wonder if you will just as well. We'll talk about it when we come back here on the show.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7600. 888-782-7580.
It was a quiet weekend at Southern Oak Stadium with both the men's and women's teams away from home in our latest Armada Minute. The boys in blue snapped a 2-game losing streak and did it in emphatic fashion with a 4-0 victory in their first ever meeting with the Miami Dutch Lions. Sebastian Zettel, Alex Iarides, Noah Kavif, and Callum Frogson all finding the back of the net in South Florida. Next up, a Friday night home matchup against longtime rivals, the New Orleans Jesters, at 7 p.m. The women's under-23 squad picked up 3 points from a pair of games in Southwest Florida, topping Gulf Coast 4-0, but falling to Cape Coral 2-0. A home crowd will be a nice change of pace on Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. as the Fleet plays host to the West Florida Flames. Tickets are available for both matches on JacksonvilleArmada.com, and I'll have the call on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network this weekend. I'm Stuart Weber with your Jacksonville Armada Minute.
Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt. And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it.
The Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice 3-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent Austen Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jacks app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device, you're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jacks Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Got the lineup for this Friday. Miller Moulton, 6 a.m., more of the professional setting. Those guys rocking suits. Then we got 10 a.m., we got Brent and Austen. You may know us a little bit, a little more casual. Brent, you're not wearing a suit today, and neither am I.
Nope.
Coming up with 1 p.m., we got the Cup Date with Stuart Weber. 1:30 a week with Action Sports Jacks. 2 o'clock, we got After the Game. And then 3 p.m., if you didn't get enough of us the first time, why not do a double shot? We got Brent and Austen coming to you at 3 as well.
Yeah, there you go. Nice job with the lineup. We're excited about After the Game. That'll be Coach Kevin Sullivan. Tuesday and Fridays, that's our new show we just debuted this week. Josh Baker, Baker Sports, High School 912. Supporting that, and we're going to have different coaches each and every week. But on Tuesday and Friday, we'll play that same episode.
And you can actually go to actionnewsjacks.com and find that anytime. And that, I'm telling you, go check it out. It's fun, especially if you're in the high school game. I think by now you may have heard about it a little bit. It's not just high school football coaches. I think you'll love it if you're a high school coach of any sport. I think if you coach at all, on any level, I think you'll really enjoy it as well. Speaking of coaches, as we welcome everybody back to Strings Sports Brewery, I'm going to get into the Dan Hurley stuff, but a different way of speaking of coaches. What I was tweeting about last night, and I don't want to go too crazy in the weeds. I could probably do a whole show on this.
Okay.
But it goes back to the transfer portal. Right now, there are like over 3,500 kids in the transfer portal in baseball. It opened up this week.
Sure.
And I think it's important when we talk about like the portal in basketball and football. To me, those two sports are different than a lot of the other sports. And let's just take it with baseball. First of all, in basketball, there's scholarships for every player available.
Yeah.
In football, there's 85 of them in most places, unless you're a non-scholarship. Okay. We're talking about Division I right here for the most part. And in baseball, there's 11.7. And a lot of them don't even have that fully funded. There might be like 9 scholarships available for 35, 40 guys to spread out. So it's a different animal, right? Yeah. And also the NIL money is different. If you're a basketball player going to LSU, you're getting more money than even a baseball player going to LSU, most likely. If you're a football player, you're getting more money than both to go to LSU.
Yeah.
So the pool of money in football, big. Pool of money in basketball, pretty big.
Yeah.
Pool of money in baseball, for very select few, is big, but most of the time it's just a little bit of a swimming pool. It's a kiddie pool.
Okay.
All right. Which, by the way, money's money. That's fine. There's incentive. And if you go to the mid-major level, there's probably not a lot of money in any of the sports.
Okay. Yeah.
So what got us on this topic a little bit, JU, and by the way, I just want to be upfront about this. I'm not hammering the kids. I think this is a great opportunity for these young men to go play at Florida and Florida State and other places and fulfill that dream. Really cool. So it's opened the door for that. Now, some people are going to make good decisions. Some are going to make not so good decisions. We'll see how that works out. But UNF last year had Alex Lodis went to FSU after a great year, freshman year at UNF. They lost him. They lost Aiden Sweat, who had been there a few years and had a great career at UNF, went to Liberty to play, I think, his final year.
Okay.
Austin Brindling, as a center fielder, had a terrific year last year for UNF and then went to South Carolina to play in the SEC. And all those guys, I think, performed pretty well at the next level, so good for them and good decisions. UNF, meanwhile, lost whatever that would be, like 2, 3, 4 in their lineup and a lot of offense, right?
Yeah.
This year, just this week or just yesterday, Evan Crest, who's a very good stuff on the mound. Now, he did not perform as well this year for JU, but he's good stuff. And he's going to Florida State. And then Justin Nadeau going to Florida. And he's their leading hitter, I think. Hit .395 this year. Had 2 good seasons. So this got us on the top. That's the background of that's why we were talking about this topic. And the way I approached it, Austin, was I don't know if I was the head coach at UNF or JU, Joe Mercadante and Chris Hayes. I'm sitting there and I'm like, what are we supposed to do? Like, how do we build this? This is so new. There's stuff going around. You feel like you get a good recruit, and you did your job to recruit, get a talent that other people didn't see.
Yeah.
And those are the guys, by the way, in years past that help propel your programs to different levels. Because you can ride a guy like that, a steal is what I call it at that level, and really get you to have like banner seasons. Well, now you get that guy, you somewhat develop that guy, because I'm not sure anybody's developing anybody right now, and that guy goes. And then you're forced to try to replace that, which is very difficult because you just got a couple of guys that maybe you get once every 5 or 6 years in the recruiting cycle.
Sure.
So how do you do it in this landscape was really my topic last night, as Delphonic said, late tweeting. But
okay.
And I just don't know, and I don't think they know.
I mean, I think you have to get creative because here's how I look at it. Once again, not saying this is right, but I'm saying this is how it is. When you brought up the NIL, when you have all these things, I've said it many times, you created an open market, right? And much like the open market in everyday society, the goal is to what? If you're in a place of employment, you're trying to go to a better place of employment. You're trying to get an upgrade in pay, trying to get an upgrade in terms of prestige, whatever you want to call it. So when you have college kids, and once again, you mentioned baseball, right? So they're not making all the NIL money. But if you're at JU and then you see Florida, I mean, Florida would be a better school to go to.
Yeah.
So if they're interested, I'm not going to knock a kid for going to Florida making more money. So, like, That's the way that is. That's what we call an open market, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the way it's going to be. Now, if you're a coach, what can you do? I mean, I think you start talking about you have to keep on plugging and playing, and get, maybe D2 recruits, maybe some JUCO. I don't know. You have to get guys where people aren't looking, bring them in, and hopefully build your program where you can become so dominant where players actually want to come to you. Right? Like, if I'm at JU right now, and with all due respect to JU, if Florida offers me, I'm probably going to Florida. Right? Like, it's simple as that. It's not rocket science. So the goal has to be of just going to places where people aren't looking.
Yeah. I think there's an element of that. And I guess what I'm trying to find a little bit is how do you sustain it? How do you get through? You're going to have some of that where your guys are going to blossom. They're going to leave. They're paying money. It's a good opportunity. No problem. Like, I think in this instance, these guys might have gone there, and I don't know this. I know Justin and his family really well, but I didn't pry too much on it, and I know him too well to pry, maybe. But my assumption is he's a really good player. He's draft eligible. He's actually got some pro workouts coming up. They might have, even some of the pro scouts might have said, hey, if you don't get drafted this year, you should go play in the SEC, prove yourself there, and then you're going to boom, right? I mean, that might be the advice that he got. I have no idea. I'm just saying I could see that as being a path. So it makes total sense to go there for the kid and the family, everything else. Like, again, not knocking that part of it. I think most people would say yes to that.
Yeah.
To your point. What I'm really trying to do, I just feel right now for a guy like Hayes, who his roster gets rated. UNF's did last year. Mercadante at UNF's trying to build a program. So what do you do? Like, this is not your normal way of building a program. What I suggested last night is this. I think, and I don't know exactly how this can work, but let's just say in a perfect world it could work. I think you have to position yourself as not a 2-year junior college school and not a 4 or 5 year school like we have for years and years, where a kid could get redshirted, play another 4 years, go to grad school there and everything else and be a part of your program. I think you have to go in between. I think you have to try to position as like a 3-year proposition. So when I go recruit Austin Lane and I'm sitting down with the family and everything else, I'm saying, listen, we want you to get that opportunity to go play at Florida and Florida State.
Of course.
We want you, though, to also be part of our program. Well, we're going to win. We're going to develop you. We're going to be loyal to you. In a day and age where there are a lot of empty promises, because we're going to go bring in 10 kids at your position. We're not going to do that. We're going to be loyal to you. We're going to grow you, develop you. We're taking a chance that we're correct. Now, this can't be a one-to-one deal. I mean, you have to build depth and everything else. But my point is, can you do this to at least a third of the roster or whatever it is? Because you're also going to have people break it on the other end, their promises, and you got to plan for that. But if you build that culture and say, we want to take care of you for 3 years, we want to give you an opportunity to grow, we want to get you stronger and better and all that stuff, but we really want you to go get that opportunity at Florida and Florida State. We're going to help you get there. We're either going to help you get drafted, we're definitely going to help you get a degree, and we want to help you go get some NIL money and get to that higher level, which is your dream to play at as well.
Yeah.
So it's okay if you use us for that, but we want to build a relationship with you for the next few years. And so my goal, again, I'm not sure it's going to work out with everybody, but my goal would be, how do I go between the junior college of 2 years and that 4 or 5 year old school plan and say, we want you to put you on like a 3-year plan. And again, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if that's like, we will promise you a scholarship for 3 years, because nobody promises. They're all 1 year deals.
You can't do that. Yeah.
Well, I know, but you can at least cultivate that, right?
Sure.
You can say, look, we have done this and we did do it. Like, you have to build that, because you've got to build something at the mid-major level. And right now you can't build the damn thing, because you build it and then you're playing Jenga with the roster and it throws it all up. So I don't know if that's the way, at least in my mind, I'm thinking about this. Like, can you position yourself in between? Somebody brought up a good point today. The guys that are being replaced at that Power 5 level are either graduating or some are falling back to the mid-majors, which is happening.
Yeah.
But the problem with those guys, and it's not always a problem, but you're getting guys that haven't played now for a couple of years. The reason why they're coming back to the mid-majors and transferring out and going in the portal is because they haven't played. So now you're getting a kid that hadn't played for 2 years. coming back.
Well, I'm sure he's played somewhat. Like, I mean, in the summer, I mean, all these college kids play different leagues.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, but that's a risky proposition. I mean, if you've been sitting on a bench for 2 years, like, that's a long time.
Okay.
At least in I think probably in any sport, really.
Okay. Yeah.
To have that game experience, and some of those might work and some of them don't.
Sure.
But I don't know. Someone's going to figure this out. And I don't know what that is. The other part of it is, and I know like UNF's trying to do this. I'm assuming JU's trying to do this, but I know UNF's trying to do it. Is they're trying to figure out a way, can we get, well, I don't know if UNF's trying to figure it out if other people around UNF, I shouldn't speak, I don't know what they can and can't do. But I think a lot of mid-majors are trying to figure out, can we get a collective of sorts that, yeah, you're not going to make this kind of money, but we can pay you something in the meantime. Because we can. We're allowed to. So can we pay you something, even if it's not to this level? And will that help entice people to stay a little bit longer in your academic programs, in this program that we, again, are rooting for you, not to just graduate, but rooting for you to go play at Florida and Florida State and all these big schools? Can you position it that way? I don't know. That's my thought. That's my 5-minute TED Talk on how to build
20 minutes, but yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was last. So were people conversing with you last night? Like, was there any ideas, like, in terms of what's some possible? Well, you kind of shared your thoughts, but did anybody else kind of chime in and share?
No, there was a little bit of pushback. The one thing I don't like, and you kind of said it, but you said it with trying to still find a solution. It is what it is. This is the market. This is the reality. Mm-hmm. Okay, but that can't stop there. Like, that's fine that this is the reality. It's okay to acknowledge that this is a reality. Okay. But now what are you going to do about it? How are you going to morph your program at the mid-major level? How are you going to figure this landscape out to make it good for you as well? Like, that's the next stage. And you can't just stop and be like, yeah, this is the way it is, so we're going to lose players and then we're going to try to get them back in. Now, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way for you. You take, like, UConn right now in baseball again. They have, like, 9 guys, man, that played Division III baseball, and they're on to the Super Regionals against Florida State this weekend.
Okay.
So they did it by going to get what you said, going to get the good players at the lower levels that are going to look at UConn as a great opportunity to go play.
Sure.
Which is a way to do it. Yeah. So, again, that's part of the formula, part of the plan. Go get the D2 guys. Go get the JUCO guys that you can bring in there. But I think one thing that concerns people, if I was building a program, is how do you create culture when people are coming and going at a revolving door every year? Can you slow that door down?
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't it's hard to build and create culture if everybody's coming in and out.
No, of course.
To me, that's the mystery. The guy, Florida, by the way, Florida State, you guys, you don't have to build culture. You don't have you're going to get the best players.
Florida State's already been built. You know, I mean, I think when you talk about the mid-major schools, the way that kids operate these days, you have to make it a place that they want to be at. You know, like you have to make it, whether it's the money, whether it's the opportunities, and this is where boosters come in. This is where getting creative with NIL comes in. I mean, you have to do things that the bigger schools aren't doing because you're at a disadvantage there. It's just like any small mom and pop company that's trying to make it in the world of Walmarts and all these chain stores. Like, they get creative in terms of how can they appeal to the masses and how can they stay in business.
We asked this question about, I think, a John Calipari in the past. Is he a good coach or is he a good recruiter? And, of course, he's a good coach to some level, but we have the debate. Is he a better recruiter or is he a better coach, right?
He's obviously a better recruiter.
Because he's won national championship at Kentucky.
Yes.
Now, I would argue in that year he showed tremendous coaching ability, because I think that was the year he took like as one of his lesser teams, and actually they won the national championship. He also won national championship with a lot of talent at UMass and all that stuff. So, actually, did he win at UMass, or was it just a runner-up?
I thought it was like a Final Four.
Maybe it was just but you know, the bottom line is we have that debate.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to muddy up the world and say, is my guy at X Power 5 school even a good coach? Or is he just a good shopper? Forget about recruiter. You're not recruiting. You're shopping.
Yeah.
Because you're shopping in the portal and you have money to spend. Mm-hmm. This is not recruiting anymore for the big schools. It's shopping.
Yeah, but it's still recruiting in terms of getting like the big 5-star players like that aren't in the portal.
Yeah, you still have to get that occasional quarterback and other sports.
I mean, especially in basketball, like basketball is still a lot of recruiting. Like look what Kentucky has done. They didn't get a lot of guys in the transfer portal. Like Calipari was like, hey, we're UK, we're Big Blue Nation. Look at the track record. Look at all the NBA players that we have right now in the league that have come from this university. Come play for us.
Yeah. It's and I do again. I think, and I know we try to loop everything in. I think various sports have various tentacles to this. I don't think the football is the same as the basketball, is the same as the baseball, is probably the same as other sports on campus. I do think there are different ingredients that change kind of the way you would look at this overall.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But once again, I think that's when it comes to getting creative. Like, I could care less. I mean, I respect it. Obviously, Olympics coming up, but like college gymnastics, I mean, I'm not a big fan. I don't watch it. I couldn't really name anybody, but a person I do know is Livy Dunn, and like what she's been able to do. And guess what? She's not even the best gymnast, I feel like, on that team, but her creativity in terms of what she's doing on social media and being an influencer has propelled LSU gymnastics now to be like the talk of, NCAA gymnastics, even though they aren't the best team. Like everyone knows who they are.
Speaking of coaching, by the way, so we go from that and hopefully somebody will figure out the recipe to do it at the mid-major level in other sports, to Dan Hurley, who obviously is the top coach right now in men's basketball. Back-to-back built UConn up. And Kim Corner, we're going to get some sound from Dan Hurley queued up here in a moment because I don't know if you got a chance. I shared this, but I don't know if you got a chance to hear it.
I haven't heard it yet.
This is going to be, by the way, this might make your head explode.
What a tease.
Yeah, like this is going to be so many different terms and X's and O's that are like, what is he talking about?
Okay.
But digest it, and especially listen to the early stages and how smart maybe more of these guys are and where they go shopping, by the way, for some of their ideas. This is what got me attracted to it. And there'll be a football reference that to me is fascinating to the San Francisco 49ers at somehow Hurley and UConn used the same principles to really set up the stage for them to win a back-to-back national championship. Okay. Here's Dan Hurley.
There's a play you guys have where you run a skip pass to the big, and then you get into a series of high splits. Sometimes it's a ghost screen for a dunk, or you get to a three-pointer either on a DHO or a catch and shoot. Where did you steal that play from?
Hey, so I think the inspiration the last 2 years, especially this year, is like watching college football now, or Shanahan from the NFL, how they'll have these formations. Obviously, the pace and the tempo of their cuts and their actions, but like how they'll have trips out of shotgun, with two in the backfield, and out of that formation, there's like 7 or 8 different things they do out of it, right? There's like a sweep, a play action, a deep post, right? All these different things. So I think going into this year, me and Luke Murray, we got together and we're like, we want to have 10 different formations, all right? Whether it's, a floppy, a regular horns with the 4 and 5 high, an inverted horns, a low 1-4, a box set. We want to have 8 to 10 different, different formations that we would have, all these different wrinkles for, right? Something for a shooter, whether it's like a, wide pin or flare rescreen or, a jet, jets for us, which are staggers. So out of every formation, we want to have something for a shooter, something that's going to finish with some type of a ball screen action, something with a deep post up, something to open up an ISO for somebody to drive it. We want to have, so out of each formation, anytime we run it, the defense is going to have no idea whether it's a post up, something for a shooter, or whatever it is. So that action you're talking about, that's, we saw somebody in FIBA do it. Maybe it was a team in Turkey. And we just layered on top of what theirs was. Theirs was just basically a ghost, like that ghost action from guard to guard, where they were just trying to drive it. and the 5-man is in that opposite weak side corner. And now if his man steps up to help, they would just throw the lob dunk, and that was the whole action. So for us, we just wanted to kind of, if that was taken away, how are we going to continue to flow and play? So if we couldn't get downhill and drive it, and the big sees that he's not going to get a lob dunk, he's now stepping, catching that over the top pass, that guard, that ghost. He's using the flare into what would be a grenade or a dribble handoff. If they blow that up, now that weak side corner guard is now going to come back to a zoom on ball. And if it's a switching team, look for your slips. If they lock and chase everything, you could curl the 4-man. That's the one that you saw Alex Caravan slip and dunk it. But it's actions that's just layered on top of each other, and we just try to disguise it with the formations.
Well, now I think Dan Hurley's wife and probably Steph should get together, because this is how I talk about the TV business and our business that we're in.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that guy probably is really he's in his own world at the dinner table, is my guess. I mean, obviously, these guys live this stuff, right?
Yeah, you weren't following along with all the basketball offense?
I mean, I get it. I think it was kind of, I mean, the terminology's wild. Definitely different than when I played CYO basketball, middle school basketball. I don't think they were throwing all that out.
Yeah.
But I just found it fascinating, first of all, his expertise and knowledge. When football guys, if we're talking the Jags, they can talk like that. Press Taylor can talk like that, right?
Yeah.
But it's so involved. It's so intricate. You're always finding the next thing, and to go to Turkey to find one thing and San Francisco in the college football game to find another thing, I thought was fascinating part of this.
Yeah, I mean, I was privileged enough when I was playing AU basketball. I was under Bo Ryan's tutelage and his son Will Ryan, and we implemented the swing offense. And if those of you that are kind of initiated to basketball, the swing offense was a form of the Princeton offense. Long story short, all-time motion. You're always moving around. You're never standing still. It's not a lot of iso ball. It's more backdoor cuts, making the defense work a little more, tiring them out, and obviously moving the ball with passing and keeping the defense on their feet. That's the kind of like what I was ingrained in. But the beautiful thing of the swing offense was like everybody kind of had their role in terms of what they do well. So it's almost like a coach saying, hey, let's set you up for success, right? I talk about this all the time in football. Don't put Josh Allen standing up if he's used to standing, if he's in a 3-point stance, things like that. So, in the swing offense, my dribbling was lacking, my 3-point shooting, so I was the 4. And basically what I did was rebounder, physicality, dunks, alley-oops. That was my special.
Seems to fit.
Yeah. So that's what I did well. So
I had that dunking role as well in CYO.
There we go. So when you hear about Hurley kind of talking about going to Europe and finding some of these concepts and everything, yeah, listen, it all sounds great. And how ironic that probably the 2 favorites right now for the Lakers gig, JJ Redick and Bobby Hurley, were doing a podcast together. That's funny in its own right. But the question starts to be asking, though, you have to ask yourself is, will that work at the NBA level? Because what you have at the NBA level is a lot of ISO. It's a lot of guys saying, all right, it's one-on-one. I can beat you. Forget all this motion stuff. Forget swinging the ball. I'm the dog. I want the ball. I want to shoot it. So at the college level, it's great because there's more or less unselfish play, especially at UConn, right? I mean, that they had 1 through 5 was just talented players who, came back from the previous year, so they had a camaraderie together.
Culture, buy-in.
Culture. When you get to the NBA, it's a little more of, okay, this guy's the star, this guy's, maybe the second star, this guy's the role player. Everyone kind of finds their roles a little bit, and it's like, can you really implement these types of offenses when you have guys who just want to play one-on-one ball so bad?
Yeah, and by the way, the latest report is Danny Hurley is the favorite now, and Woj shared that earlier the week. There was a report that Redick was going to get the gig. Yeah. And just to be clear, this is from a podcast with those guys from April that is now being resurfaced because I think LeBron actually got excited about Hurley is the story based on even that answer.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, who knows what, right? I mean, I think that's just some of the stuff floating around. But I think you bring up a good point. Well, there's 2 things that just a real quick thought on why this got my attention. Because I'm still stuck a little bit. I know it feels like I'm stuck on the play calling with the Jags. I'm actually stuck a little bit more on Trevor Lawrence's April news conference where he hinted that the offense is going to be different. and evolve. And now they're not going to tell us what that is. I asked Mike McCoy about it a little bit, and maybe it is. Maybe that's the power stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But obviously, you can also say Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas, like they can stretch the field more. Different dynamic. I don't know how involved that is. I don't know how intricate. I don't know how much of a change it's going to be from last year to this year. But it has my attention. Mm-hmm. And when you look at someone like Hurley, he won a national championship, and he still said, okay, we got to do more stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's going shopping at Kyle Shanahan's store and college football store. Are the Jags doing that too? Or do you get stubborn in your system, the Andy Reid system, the Doug Peterson system, this is what we do, or do you evolve? Because right now the systems that are working really is the Shanahan one, the one that's working in Houston and other places. That's the principles of that offense are seemingly catching defenses off guard. So I'm curious, all good coaches will evolve, but there are also a lot of stubborn good coaches.
No, I mean, every team's going to evolve. It's definitely a copycat league. I mean, if something's working right, you're going to see what that team's doing and try to copy them as much as possible. Where comes the fine line, though, of being the copycat and trying to implement stuff is, do you have the players to facilitate that? Everyone wants to be the Dolphins' offense. Not everyone's got a Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, that's true. So now back to the other part of that is, can it work? You just said it. Will it work? Can it work? Can you get that? I mean, is that a huge risk for the Lakers to bring a guy in who wants, like, this is what his claim to fame is, really? I mean, he's changed a little bit of college basketball with obviously the players he's brought in, but the execution of what he's done, they're trying to catch up. We're all watching it. We're like, why can't anybody stop this, right? Yeah. Well, what if it doesn't work at the NBA? That seems like a major risk.
Oh, no, I mean, we've seen this a couple times now. You've seen it with Billy Donovan, where, he's had moderate success, but, he hasn't, gone to a championship or anything. Who was the cat from Iowa State that went to Chicago?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Okay, he didn't have, so it's just... It's a different league, obviously, but it's so different because it's different personality.
Yeah.
Right? You're dealing with grown men now who kind of have that I want the ball in my hands at all times type of mentality. So, I mean, can you go from UConn winning 2 championships and implement that into an NBA team? Maybe, but I think the question is, who would you rather have, Hurley or JJ Redick right now? Because, I get with Steve Nash didn't have a good run as an NBA coach, but I think a lot of that had to do with James Harden and how he got along with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. I don't think even Phil Jackson could have got that team together and made him play the game of basketball. So you see Steve Nash, having success right now, former point guard in himself. Would you rather have JJ Redick as a coach or Hurley?
It's a great question. I've seen this a little bit out.
What do the consensus say?
I don't know if there is a consensus. Okay. I think what I've read a little bit is how can no resume versus a resume. The guy's never Redick's never coached.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what's more of a risk? College coach coming to coach, or a guy who's never coached coming to coach, but he's played in the league?
Yeah, I think that means something.
Well, I get it.
I think having that experience, being in that locker room, being on the court with guys, I think that says something as well.
Doesn't say enough. And by the way, I'm scared by both. I'm not sure this is the best option. If I'm the Lakers, I'm not sure either one is the best option. The college guy to the pro game, you just gave examples. We've seen it in other sports. Can it work? Maybe. Donovan's making a pretty good case that it has now. But I still think it's risky, in my opinion. And as we just talked about for the last few minutes, stylistically, it could be really risky. And what he was doing and implementing and what he could do at the NBA level. But Redick, to me, doesn't just ooze coach. But that method has seemingly worked more, right?
Yeah.
At least you can find. From Larry Bird to...
as coaches?
Yeah.
Yeah, but was Larry Bird a good
He actually was for a while there. I think he had some good years. But
I think Jason Kidd, Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr kind of fits that JJ Redick role a little bit. I think super cerebral.
Yeah.
Super self-aware. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the safer pick would honestly be Jason. I'm not Jason Kidd. Would be JJ Redick.
Yeah.
I think the boomer bust could be Hurley.
Yeah, I feel like I'm with you there. I just think there's more precedent on the Redick stuff. It's funny you say I don't look at Redick, and I don't watch all his stuff or see all of them, but I feel like I don't feel like he is Kerr. The reason. And I like J.J. Redick, by the way. I just feel like there might be this might just be the nature of how we view people who do like national shows.
Okay.
But I feel like there's ego involved there, right? There's more personality involved there. There's a little type A, like, I got to be involved in it there. Can he take this approach?
Okay.
Like Kerr was always this, right? I mean, that was his role.
Yeah,
as a player, and Redick's role was a little bit that way
also,
too.
I mean, and like not to say that it's about an ego thing, because I think it's more about just social issues. But like Steve Kerr has been at the forefront in terms of addressing social issues, and
once he built up equity as a coach, though, not before he got into coaching.
No, but it just happened to be like things were going on when he was a coach.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, that's a perception thing. I'm not. I don't even know if I eloquently said it well enough. It just feels like they're a little bit different.
Okay.
And does that mean could be clashing at some point? Like, you take a guy like Kidd, why could he be well, he's a facilitator, right? I mean, that's kind of what he did. Like, it felt right.
Sure.
Right? From that spot. Yeah. And I'm not telling you that Redick feels wrong because of it. It just feels like a little possibility to be clunky on that side of things. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We will talk a little bit about that Celtics Mavs coming up. I got a birthday question for you as well, but let's take it's not your birthday.
Yeah.
But it is Stuart Weber's.
Oh,
and Mike Burrish's.
Dang, okay.
Yeah.
Both those guys today?
Yeah, both of them today.
Let's go.
So happy birthday to those guys. We will take a break from Strings Sports Brewery here in Springfield. We'll be back with the noon hour on the Brent Austen Show here on a Thursday. Thanks for hanging out with us.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we are a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids.
Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains and no payments for 90 days.
Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
It's hard to put a price on comfort, especially when you use that comfort on a daily basis. But if we're going to put a price on it, how does the lowest price guaranteed sound? Furniture Source is going to have the biggest brands, whether it's Ashley, Casper, or Tempur-Pedic, and once again, it's going to be the guaranteed lowest price in Jacksonville. Right now, my friends at Furniture Source are going to give you the ultimate hookup because all month long, they're making their inventory wholesale price. Check out their markdowns up to 50% off. And remember, since it's Furniture Source, you're getting the guaranteed lowest prices in Florida or your money back. Don't have the cash on you right now? It's no worry. Shop endless options to suit your style and budget and enjoy 36 months off with no interest financing. Why use your money when you can use theirs? Whether it's beds, couches, tables, or chairs, Furniture Source is going to have exactly what you're looking for. Shop the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed. Find the location nearest you at FurnitureSourceJacks.com.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Oh man, it is that time. I I love being outside, but it is just so hot. Oh my gosh, I cannot be outside. Well, you know, it doesn't have to be. As a matter of fact, I've got the perfect solution for you to be able to stay outdoors and not look like this guy.
GW Outdoor Solutions has the solution that will help you create areas of shade with their automated retractable awning. As the summer months inch closer, the high temperatures will be right there too. With GW Outdoor Solutions, go from scorching to cooling in no time with one simple push of a button. These innovative shade solutions not only provide protection from the sun and rain, but also add style and functionality to your home. Let GW Outdoor Solutions transform your backyard into paradise. Check out gwoutdoorliving.com for your free estimate.
New to town or always been in town, everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martinos get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations, Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Old School Kingfish Shootout coming up on Saturday, really the next couple of days. They'll have big events down there in St. Augustine. A huge number of boats the last couple of years, and expecting the same. The weather looks good, which is awesome. We had Paul Dozier in a couple of weeks ago talking about the event, and you can see it for the first time ever on the Action News Jax family of streams, if you will. It's on Action News Jax now, on the Action News Jax app, on actionnewsjax.com. So if you're going to fish in that event, you can watch the weigh-in while you're still fishing out on the water. So how about that? Action News Jax app, actionnewsjax.com, and replays on the network all day on Sunday between the Old School Kingfish Shootout and the Jacksonville Armada. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane. Noon hour begins. Show's flying by here. Ronan says it feels like you guys have been talking for 5 hours, probably.
Are you getting bored there, buddy? Doing okay? He's good, man. Yeah. Thumbs up, ready to roll. Playing some Golden Tee and basketball. It's all a kid needs.
Should we ask everybody in the chat, you getting bored or you doing okay?
There we go, man. Yeah.
Hopefully they're not too bored.
What's the chat talking about?
I don't know. They were talking about Jags. Once we get off Jags, once I got on my baseball topic, they didn't love that. Or Dan Hurley. They weren't in on that.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's fun. They were chatting about the Jags, of course. Who won your little one-on-one matchup?
Oh, yeah. Listen, it wasn't a 7-game series, okay? We're talking about a 4-game sweep here. No one said I had to be close. My best result was 8 out of 10. What'd you go, man? 3 out of 10? 4 out of 10? Yeah. Room for improvement. Shaq on the foul line right now.
Shaq, I was going to say Shaq.
Giannis on the foul line.
If you think of bad free throw shooters, Shaq first comes to mind?
Oh, yes. I mean, they named the whole philosophy after him, and that obviously the hack of Shaq.
Statistically, I don't know who the worst free throw shooter is.
Yeah, I have no idea.
You're right. He did.
I can look it up.
The hack of Shaq was a thing, and kind of still is a thing when needed. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane. All right, you're not a huge birthday guy.
No.
I get it. But Stuart Weber, happy birthday to him. I don't think he's like major birthday guy. It just worked out that his day off was on his birthday today.
Oh, was that by design, or did he take off
No, he's off Thursday, Friday.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So it just kind of worked out very nicely.
Well, happy birthday!
Happened to me the other day. I think my birthday was Saturday, so it just kind of off.
Oh, happy birthday, man!
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you didn't tell anybody, so
that's right.
How are we supposed to know?
No, it's okay.
I'm not on Facebook.
But so something caught my attention about Weber.
Okay.
I'm going to show you this. This is in a text message. Not everybody else will see. But Weber sent the group this, thanking us because his wife, Courtney, got him a framed Masters flag with his scorecard and everything else because he played at Augusta a couple of years ago after the Masters.
Correct.
And so I had this done when I played. And so that's why he was thanking us, because I think we pointed Courtney in the right direction.
Oh, yeah. Kind of give some advice.
And he's got a little pool room where he's got some stuff hanging up. I think he does. I don't know. Now that he's married,
cave,
right? Have to share that. I don't know if he's got the man cave.
Still man cave, Stuart. Come on now.
So it's very nice. I don't know where. It looks like maybe she did it herself. I don't know.
I mean, if she did it herself, she
did a great job.
Working at Michael's crafts because you, ma'am, are a professional.
So, what struck me about this, and I don't know if it's right or wrong.
Okay.
Is I was like, wow, this is like 9:30 in the morning, or maybe it's 10 o'clock in the morning when he texted us. I was like, he already got his gift.
Oh, his birthday gift. Yeah.
I'd make the sucker wait till dinner time or something.
No. I mean,
you getting your gift in the morning, or you get your gift in the evening? You know what I mean? Like, I felt like that struck me that he already got his gift.
Well, but he's off, right? So he's off the whole day. So
yeah, and she might be working from home, so maybe that has a little bit to play.
I mean, listen, if you go back to my youth, and it was my birthday during a school week. I mean, I'm not getting the gift till I come home, right? Because I still had to be good at school to earn said gift. Can't be
maybe that's where that was for.
Can't be giving out birthday gifts. I go to school, get a referral, in school suspension, or something like that. No, that's not going to fly in the Lane household. So yeah, as a kid, I always got my gifts when I came home from school or after practice, things like that. But I think in adulthood, man, I mean, if it's your birthday, it's your birthday. I mean, heck, go 12:01, go midnight 01 if you want to.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want to do.
I guess, yeah. Listen, I'm not criticizing. I'm just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
It struck me. I was like, how does he already have his gift? Weber sleeps in, by the way. He's hardly even up. He's still in his pajamas.
Okay, so here's the question, Brent. You opening Christmas gifts in the morning, or are you doing it Christmas Eve?
Fair.
No, seriously, because I thought
you were going to draw the comparison with the birthday.
You
do it in the morning.
No, because the Lane family, we do it in the evening, Christmas Eve.
You do gifts on Christmas Eve?
Forget waking up to say, no, you're good. Christmas Eve, nighttime, Yeah.
Nah, I mean, well, you've seen the videos in the past. You know when we do
daytime. Because my kid's not going to sleep unless he opens the gift, unless he knows what he's getting.
Yeah. What we would do, I think we have a tradition. We had a tradition, and I think still to this day try to do it, open one gift on Christmas.
Oh, just a little appetizer.
Yeah, a little appetizer.
Okay.
And I feel like that's a pretty popular way to go. And a lot of that will depend on the age of the kids. Mm-hmm. So as you get a little older, will we do it more on Christmas Eve? I don't know. That's a good call.
Yeah.
I will say this about Christmas. I always liked, for growing up, I think we basically had our traditional thing. We would go visit my mom's parents, my dad's parents. We go to church. We go somewhere for dinner, or maybe it was a party that somebody was having at Christmas Eve. It changed a little bit over time, but I always remember saying Christmas Eve is better than Christmas.
Yeah.
It felt like you were. It just felt fun. You were on the move. It wasn't as boring as Christmas Day after the present part.
Yes.
The other part, you had to go visit your grandparents, and to go to church.
That's a long one too, man.
Or even church.
Is a long one.
On Christmas Eve, if you went to Christmas Eve church, it was maybe the midnight mass or something like that. Okay, this is cool. This is different.
Midnight mass.
Felt like you were doing a little bit different.
Yeah.
Right?
Thursday night football, night game.
So
midnight mass.
So I'm not hating on Christmas Eve, by the way. I like that. That's a good method.
Did we ever establish, and I know people can't see the pic, but it's a beautiful frame, beautiful. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
Was this thing wrapped or not?
Oh, that I don't know. I hope not.
Because, I mean, and I'll be honest.
Like too much work.
Thank you. But I think there's some people out there, my mom, where she'll spend, it's all about presentation. Right? I mean, think about when you go to a nice dinner, right? You eat with your eyes.
Yeah,
I think some people think when you give a gift, the presentation of the wrapping, the bow, the ambiance has to be on par with said gift.
Yeah.
I don't believe that one.
I don't believe in it either. Ronan doesn't believe in it either. I can tell. He's just give me the gift.
Hey, it's going to be an Amazon Prime box. Have fun with it, son. Open it up, man. You got it.
No, it is pretty wild. I do have this appreciation level for people who can rap really well.
Oh, it's a skill.
And I'm not talking like Kendrick Lamar and
Don't even say Jake because we opened the show with Jake yesterday. So
did you end up going there?
Oh, we went there. We broke it down.
But yeah, people who can present like that's a special gift in itself. It's impressive, but I wouldn't want my work being ripped up like that in a heartbeat.
Oh, no, it's funny you should say that. So I had an aunt back in the day. Yeah, and it was my aunt. She would like a surgeon with a scalpel would because she would reuse the wrapping paper. Oh. So me being a kid, hey, I'm trying to tear into some gifts here, and we had to go one by one. Everyone takes a turn, and I'm just like, Mary's really just gonna take the scalpel and just slowly, come on, But then she would reuse the wrapping paper,
reuse it, recycle.
So, there's a sign of respect for you.
Yeah. It was up on recycling way before others, maybe.
I guess so, man. Maybe.
I figured Weber would be jumping in.
Folding and wrapping paper, two things I could never do.
She got it at Michael's, and yes, there is paper wrapping around it.
Yeah.
You know what's wild to me is Michael's still exists.
Oh, so my mom used to work at Michael's.
Really?
Oh, yeah. My mom was actually a framer at Michael's.
Good for her. So she's good at this stuff.
Oh, she knows how to wrap and everything, man. Like I said, the presentation, Brent.
I've already said Courtney went, and she did it herself. I sent it to Palm Beach Autographs to get
There you go. Nice little free plug for you. Well, the jersey in my in our studio, my football jersey.
Oh yeah.
My mom did that.
Mom did.
Yeah, mom did that.
Might be hiring mom.
Yeah. Well, she's not working there anymore now.
Well, that's all right. But she still knows how to do it.
She still knows how to. Yeah,
just on the side, a little side gig
for sure. And by the way, I'm not giving those frames away.
Oh, framing's expensive.
I had no idea.
Really expensive.
Yeah.
And can be really, really, really expensive.
More expensive than what you're framing.
Yeah.
Half the time. Most of the time.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see, there are a bunch of jerseys actually up there, and I don't know if they did them by themselves, but, and you never know here's the funny thing. If the jerseys here at Strings Sports Brewery, and I can't show them to you. I actually did have a bump shot when we did it from week one. But,
yeah, I remember.
There's 8 of them up there on the wall. Yeah. And the funny thing is, when you're hanging up like that, I have no idea if it's a good frame or not.
True.
So, I mean, you can tell if it's a real cheap frame.
Yeah.
But you have no idea if it's this real, mahogany wood framing.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, just get you a knockoff.
Because that's the jersey, man. That's Trevor Lawrence's jersey. Cool. I'm not going to look at the border.
It's glass, it's plastic, it's whatever. As long as it's clean and looks good.
Yes.
You never. Agreed. I mean, who goes this close to it anyway?
Agreed. The same people who dissect wrapping paper, I guess. I don't know.
So happy birthday, Weber. Happy birthday, Mike Borish as well. Obviously, his day got off to a good start with the frame. And it was wrapped, so you even got to unwrap it.
Nice.
Hopefully not with a scalpel. Brent Martin, Austin Lane, Strings Sports Brewery. Give us a quick thought on tonight, Mavs and Celtics. We're a lot of basketball on the show today before we get back to some more football. I'm kind of excited about this one.
Listen, if you would have told me when it's the finals now we established, right? Finals, Brent, or final? I keep getting this confused.
That one's finals.
Finals, yeah. If you would have told me when the finals was a thing, when the playoffs just started, that I'd be rooting for the Mavericks out of all teams, I'd have been like, what are you talking about? Okay, Luka's good and everything, but Kyrie, Jason. I am wholeheartedly, sorry, Jason, sorry, Jalen, but I will be rooting for the Dallas Mavericks because I've loved the showcase of Kyrie Irving and Luka. Now, I think it could be a battle. Boston has kind of been untested in terms of who they played so far due to injuries and everything, so we don't really know what they're truly capable of, but Jaylen Brown, Tatum playing at a very high level, and I think the talks, I haven't really seen any reports yet, but I'm pretty sure Kristaps is coming back for this series as well. And that could be, obviously they call him a unicorn for a reason. That could be kind of an X factor in terms of trying to defend him too if you're the Mavericks.
Yeah. It's wild here. Luka and Kyrie feel like they're getting a lot of headlines. Celtics have been in this kind of position for the last few years. They have a similar team, their makeup. They got through some mud with the coaching part. I think what's slept on about the Celtics is that the Brad Stevens thing has worked. How often do those things work? We can't just assume that's going to work. He goes from, first of all, college to the NBA.
Success. True, yeah.
Has success, builds them, then says, all right, I'm going to the front office.
Law school college guy, too.
Which also is kind of what Larry Bird did with Indiana. But, I mean, that step, that there's usually a hiccup there. Like, that's not I don't know if that part of their story is said enough, really, what the Celtics have done since Stevens got there, going from college to what he built there on the floor and then up in the office. Yeah. And also the oddity of replacing the coach in that situation where the internal stuff was happening. Yeah. And by the way, a good coach who had won. So, and all of that, they've been able to get through. Yeah. And we talk about the Celtics a little bit where they've got like this 1A, 1B, who's really A, who's B in terms of star. They've been able to manage that. Yeah. But what I'm getting at now is I think Kyrie's an interesting piece here, but I do think this is about Luka and his stardom and where he's going very much to the point of Joker. But I also think at the same time, the Kyrie part of this story has a little bit of the Jason Tatum feel to it. Totally different journeys, totally different stories, but somebody could be highly criticized coming out of this if they don't win.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we judge, it's really every sport, right? Like every once in a while there's an anomaly. Like we all respect that Dan Marino's one of the best to ever do it, even though he didn't win a Super Bowl. But to define legacy, to put yourself up there with the greats, like I think Tatum, like Luka are trying to do, you got to win those championships. So I think both guys right now are hungry to win a championship, to essentially define their careers and put themselves up on a new level. I mean, what would make, I think, and this is how I see these two teams. Like, the Celtics can beat you many, many ways. Like Al Horford, who might be a walking eugenics commercial, because I think he's like 45 years old, can drop 6 3-pointers in a game out of nowhere.
Where are you, Frank Thomas?
And come out of nowhere. You have Derek White, who's might be the most slept-on player this entire series, who can go out there and drop 25, 30 points. You have Drew Holiday, who's one of the best perimeter guards, defenders in the entire NBA, who can also bring some offensive firepower as well. Then obviously you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Oh, by the way, like I mentioned, the unicorn might be coming back as well. They're an extremely deep and well-balanced team. But like I said, they haven't really been tested yet. And then you have the Mavericks who, let's be honest, I mean, they have great players and, there's some role players here, but this team goes through Luka and Kyrie. Like, those are the guys. So I like this matchup, Brent, because really it's in my opinion, like a backcourt that we haven't really seen before. In terms of just the talent. I mean, maybe Clay and Steph Curry, but like just the way that it looks. We haven't really seen this before with Kyrie and Luka against a team who they look like an NBA championship caliber type of team. Yeah. My question is whoever, okay, so if we say, I guess, who's going to get more scrutiny if they lose? I mean, I get, who needs to win more? But, to me, okay, if Boston wins, are we going to say, okay, well, Luka's great, but he's not that great? Or has he already cemented himself as, okay, you didn't win the big one, man, but coming into next year, you're still going to be the talk of the NBA?
Yeah, I think...
I guess the question is, who needs a championship more right now?
Well, I think the Mavs are a little bulletproof here on that conversation. Again, Kyrie, you might overall look at it, not right away, but look at it like, well, you can only win with LeBron, right? So I think it adds to that. But I think this is kind of a free pass series for the Mavs. Like you said, did you think you'd be rooting for the Mavs at the start of the playoffs? No, they weren't. I don't even know what the odds-on favorite for them to be here was, but the Celtics have been that. And the Celtics, by the way, look like a very good team. They've been the best team in the league front to back. They've been the team to chase. They've been the team that everybody's penciled in to win this thing. So with that, I believe, comes the lower expectations of the Dallas Mavericks, right? And so I think the Celtics have a lot more to lose. I think Tatum really has a lot more to lose. As we're talking about Luka and Kyrie so much, maybe we should be talking more about Tatum. I'm sure they are in Boston. Yeah. He's already and actually embraced and said he acknowledges that there's some pressure. Will he feel that pressure? Can he overcome that pressure? Can he perform? I think it's going to be an interesting story.
Well, and of course, Jaylen Brown, too, right? He's been kind of like a pissed-off teenager, essentially, going through these whole playoffs in terms of not getting his recognition. And he got some recognition in terms of the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. I'm not sure how much he really cares about that or not, but that was an accolade that he now received. The only thing that I like from Dallas's side more than Boston is, like I said, Boston has a million ways to beat you, but you still have to kind of find that right combination to win. You know what Dallas is going to do? Dallas knows their identity.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
It's going through Luka, and it's going through Kyrie. Like, if you talk about Boston's identity, I mean, sometimes they're lackadaisical on defense. Sometimes it's the Jaylen Brown show. Sometimes it's the Jason Tatum show. Sometimes Al Horford pops a bunch of nugenics and drops 20-something points in a game. Like, they're kind of unpredictable of how they can win. As a side of the sure thing where it's like, if they're going to win, Luka's going to drop 30 points.
Yeah.
If they're going to win, Kyrie's probably going to drop 25 points at least. So you know what you're getting with the Mavericks. With the Celtics, it's a little more up in the air. So do you take, like, the better team, but different ways to beat you, or the team who knows exactly what they have to do to win?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who do you got. I think Celtics will win the series, but there is a lot more pressure to do so. So if the Mavs can steal a game early, and I think that would be huge.
Yeah.
But I think they have to almost steal this game, and kind of put the pressure and all the talk on, oh boy, here go the Celtics again.
Yeah.
I think the Celtics are just better.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Celtics are better, but I think Luka's the best player in the league. Or, I mean, the best player in the court right now. Best player in the league is debatable, but I'm going to take the Mavericks simply because I just think the Mavericks know who they are and what they have to do.
All right, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Should be a good series. Be kind of fun. Again, I'm telling you, this is just a guy that doesn't usually get too invested. Even in the finals, I'll watch it a little bit, but not invested. I've got my eyes on this one a little bit more. I like the storylines in this NBA Finals quite a bit. We're live at Strings Sports Brewery. We take a break. Brent Austen Show rolls on. We take it until 1 o'clock today. We'll see you on CBS 47 and Fox 30 a little bit later today as well. We're going to catch up with some Florida State Seminole baseball players a little bit later this afternoon. So a lot going on in the world of sports and locally, too, this weekend with the Jacksonville Armada and our Old School Kingfish Shootout we'll have on the networks. Hang with us. We'll be back here on the Brent Austen Show right after this.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville.
It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air.
It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com.
Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs.
Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
It's the fishing tournament everyone wants to catch. The Daily's Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin. It's June 8th. Limited boundaries, no bait bind, no checkout. If you don't catch the big one, just catch any size kingfish and have a chance to win $10,000 with a Nimnik Lucky Ticket. It's the Old School Kingfish Shootout, and you can catch it live on the Action News Jax Now stream and the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. It's on Saturday, 2 o'clock, and it'll replay on Sunday on the Action News Jax app and actionnewsjax.com.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jax team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jacks and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access.
Welcome to Strings Sports Brewery, everybody. Hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence.
You can bring your party or event to Strings Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need Strings Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Strings Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Mornings on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network and Brent and Austen Show. Hey, we look good, though.
Fantastic, Brent.
Yeah.
Casual, about the business. I mean, you have that Bill Belichick look going on. I'm just more of a white t-shirt kind of guy, but yeah, I like it.
I like that Garth Brooks shirt you have on. Looks like the Garth G.
That's how infatuated Brent is. One G thinks it's Garth Brooks G. Does he have a logo?
Yeah, I think. I feel like it actually looks a lot like that.
Hang on,
G.
Brent. Hold on. Let me go investigate. Because if you've made it in the business, you have like a band logo.
Yeah.
I see that Dave Matthews, whatever that thing is, all the time. All right, let me see here. Garth Brooks.
By the way, as you look that up, they must have just opened up a tap.
Oh wow!
It looks so close.
That is it.
Hey, Kim, if you can, get a chance, if you can get the G for Garth Brooks' logo to throw it up on the screen, and we'll give you time. You don't have to go right away. And then maybe even we'll go back and forth between that image that you just showed.
Oh no, that's excellent. Yeah.
Because I think somebody had a copyright infringement.
I think someone's about to get. Don't look at me.
What is that shirt from?
I mean, I'm not going to say no. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. My friend runs that company. I ain't saying nothing.
Oh, as a friend.
Well, I mean,
free shirt. Friend, that's right. Because you only get free shirts.
I only get free shirts. This one I had to pay for. But hey, it's the door.
It's
I'll pay
worth
for
it.
Yeah.
Right now, I got this. It's like they opened up a keg. In here.
Oh yeah,
that
little hoppy in here.
Very hoppy in here, which is good. It's not a bad smell.
Good smell.
But it reminds me, like I took that whiff of, and you can. It's just seriously, it's like you opened a new keg somewhere, or beer spilled right next to us.
True,
that's what it smells.
Yeah.
And it just instantly brought me back to when I was like 20 years old and working at the Pawtucket Red Sox.
Okay.
Because. Like when you say you're like working for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp or the Pawtucket Red Sox, I interned there. And it was actually a paid internship, the best kind. And but you did I was flipping burgers.
Mm-hmm.
I would occasionally go help sell tickets.
Mm-hmm.
They would put you up in the press box from time to time. But a lot of what I was doing was loading up the refrigerators.
Okay.
And the kegs getting off the truck and all the underbelly stuff.
Yep.
Which was kind of cool because you learn about. But, man, I spent a lot of time in those freezers
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
A little chilly in there.
Which down here, if you work for the shrimp, you love the freezers.
Oh, you embrace that.
But in Rhode Island,
Great
I mean,
for that.
sometimes in the summer, you still
you're
get
all
like
good.
65, 70 degrees. Those freezers were cold.
You're all set. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that's.
So here you go. Here's your Garth Brooks G.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Kim gets a chance, she can put the shirt that Austin was wearing.
I mean, yeah, listen. That might have been photoshopped. I don't know. You guys are playing camera tricks. I don't recall wearing that shirt ever. I'm not gonna get anybody in trouble.
Go back to the G if you don't mind. Garth G. It's not exact.
No. Okay, here's the thing. Bottom isn't. We're fine. Yeah. So that's actually a Grappler magazine shirt that I was wearing there. Not worried about it now because it ain't the same thing. Nice try, Garth.
Garth's got the snake.
Nice try. Yeah.
He completed the snake.
Yes. The bottom part of the G is connected. Now please go back to my shirt. So there's no. I don't get sued here or anything. Yeah, not even close.
I don't know, Kim. It might have just worn off on that part.
Not even close. Kim, I mean, what are you trying to do to me? Your feelings are already beating the Brewers' butts as it is. Now you got to try to get me in trouble with copyright infringement. Come on.
Here's the bottom line with that whole deal we just did is Austin was actually like, holy cow, that is the same thing.
I thought it was, yeah. I thought it was like identical.
See, you think I'm just listening to Garth Brooks? I was thinking Garth Brooks all the time. I was right. It was close.
Yeah, I literally thought you just saw a G and thought of Garth Brooks, but no, you were dead on. I didn't know he had a logo, honestly.
Of course he's got a logo. He's
okay.
Garth Brooks.
But do you see like the Garth Brooks, like for instance, like there's some bands like, all right, Led Zeppelin, like you see their logo all the time. Like there's some bands where you see like on cars. I haven't seen the Garth Brooks G. Maybe I haven't looked hard enough, but I haven't seen the Garth Brooks G on a lot of cars.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I feel like one time, I think he had that pretty pronounced on one of his album covers.
Okay. Was that the Chris Gaines one, or
I don't think it was, I don't think that would have been a different G.
CG. Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, that wasn't it.
Gotcha.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, by the way, wrap up OTAs today, if you don't know, and then on to mandatory minicamp, and then break time for the summer. One of what we're going to do, I didn't want to play all the sound from the assistant coaches today. We've got really another 6 shows before we take a hiatus, so we'll have those conversations with a bunch of the assistants coming up over these next week. But I got stuck on a little something yesterday. We even did this on TV, and I feel like we've said this before, but it's wild to me that I don't know if they know, and I don't feel like I know exactly where they're leaning in the secondary. You take Andre Sisco and Tyson Campbell, I think those guys are plugged in.
Correct.
I know we hear about Antonio Johnson at safety, but he also played nickel for them last year and played pretty well. Opposite side, Darby, okay, fine, but we did all that math, and we're like, well, maybe that doesn't math to be the starter. Jerrion Jones, who made a name for himself at Florida State as a nickel, but they are very comfortable with him playing outside, they think, with his speed and skill set. Mm-hmm. And I think they said somebody said he played like over 1,000 snaps on the outside, too.
Yeah.
And then inside, Darnell Savage, who comes here, by the way, and when he's free agent, he comes here as a safety. And they say, we're going to play him at nickel corner. But you have Jones also, that might be nickel corner, who's impressed, by the way, in OTAs in this offseason so far. I think he had an interception earlier in the week. And where's he going to play? So, there's a mystery. Tyson Campbell, no mystery. Andre Sisco, no mystery. I don't think there's a lot of – I think that's plugged in. I know the Jags defensive staff's like, no depth chart, no depth chart. Well, those guys are tops on the depth chart. They're there.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I could predict that it's going to be Darnell Savage at nickel and Antonio Johnson at strong safety, and then also Darby. But I'm not convinced of it. Yeah, because where does that leave Jerrion Jones?
Of course.
Really, he's the piece that's got me kind of thinking, is he going to play on Savage's spot? Well, why'd they spend all that money? Is he going to play on Darby's spot? Okay, but he made a name for himself at the nickel. He might be better at nickel.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the unknown right now because we don't know what he can bring to the table. We don't know how, a rookie cornerback, a rookie, whatever you want to put him at nickel, is going to respond. So this is where training camp's going to be important for him. This is where the preseason is obviously going to be important for him. And I'm not sure if I broke this down on, it might have been Tuesday or it might have been yesterday, but we'll find out real quickly because cornerbacks can't really hide. Sometimes you're on an island a little bit. So it's not like an offensive lineman. It's like, okay, I mean, I don't know. Is he doing good? Is he going to be the starter? Like, cornerbacks, you got a pretty good idea. So, when the Bucks come to town, you're going to have a good idea. And obviously these preseason games, you have a good idea, too, of who the starters should be. And what I do like about it is competition breeds success. So as long as, knock on wood, all these guys can stay healthy, the best guys are going to play.
Yeah, and that's really was the mantra coming out of there. That's why I kind of want to hit on it. I mean, if you talk to the secondary coaches, best guy's going to win, best guy's going to win. I get that. I understand that. But we also know there's investment, right?
Yeah.
Investment in a third-round pick. It looks pretty good. And where do you stick him in and play him, or do you have to? And now, listen, they didn't do that necessarily with Walker Little over the last couple of years. So they did stick to their guns. Now, they tried to get him in other spots. But I'm just a little curious about that part of it. They invested in that position so much that someone they invested in, either draft pick-wise or free agency-wise, there's not a room for them to play.
Correct, yeah. I mean, there's going to be somebody on the bench, and somebody's going to be chomping at the bit. And obviously, if someone's play as a starter, kind of dwindles a little bit, then that guy will probably be replaced. So it's going to keep everybody on their toes a little bit of playing their highest caliber of football. I just wish one time when, you're asking a coach of, okay, it's obviously going to be a training camp battle here. I mean, how do you guys expect this playing out? I want to hear a coach say one time, well, the highest draft pick's going to play. Or actually, the highest paid guy's going to play. We have a training camp battle, a lot of guys up, a lot of spots up for grabs, but come on. The highest paid guy's going to play here. The highest drafted guy's going to play.
Yeah, that would be the greatest.
Give it to me one time.
Yeah.
Maybe I try to be a coach now just so I can say that one day.
I think that is a hard thing. Like, it's a hard – I get why coaches think that way, but even – like, if you heard Phil Rauscher earlier in the show, which, by the way, you can always listen back on our podcast, Action Sports Jacks. Check out the Brent Austen Show on podcast. It's up at 1:30, but so you get it for your ride home if you missed any of the show. And Rauscher was fantastic. But even he finds himself saying, we're going to play the best five. And I'm like, no, you're not. Correct. You're not going to play the best five. Like, that's not true.
Yeah.
You're not playing – like, Walker Little might be one of your best five talents, guys, resumes, whatever, and he's not going to play, most likely, because you've already decided you're not putting him at guard and you're not putting him at center, and there's only 2 tackle spots, so he's not going to play.
Yeah.
Most likely, he's not going to play. So
Luke Warner could go to Arizona, become the next Alex Mack. Hey, man, hate to tell you, it's a Mitch Morse show now. Sorry.
I get the best five are going to play. I get the mentality of it. But you're right. I mean, there's a little bit of, we do know. But that's where I think that's why I have such a mystery in the back end of the Jags. Because if you look at, Tyson one thing, Andre Sisco another thing. Antonio Johnson, 5th-round pick who has come on. That's actually your least invested part right now. Darby, whatever it was, 2 years, $8 million, $9 million.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry and Jones, 3rd-round pick, but 3rd-round picks are starters usually in the NFL.
I mean, and then, if you need them.
And then Darnell Savage, which I forget the deal, but it was obviously a significant enough deal where you brought him in that you thought he'd play. So now you do have one guy that's not going to play out of that mix. And let's just be honest, Nickel already isn't playing all the time, in this 4-3 defense especially. So I think that's what's a little bit wild. They are invested. So if you wanted to paint that, and you did just by how much we invested, actually the odd man out would be Antonio Johnson.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's probably not going to be the case.
No, not going to be the case. I mean, that guy could really well have a chance to start.
So it's pretty interesting. Hey, a couple of headlines coming out of the NFL. One very serious. I don't know if you saw this. It's from Tom Pelissero. The Chiefs canceled all team activities today after a backup defensive lineman had a seizure in a special teams meeting, went into cardiac arrest. Wow. The team's medical staff worked quickly. An ambulance was called. The player currently is in stable condition.
Do we have a name?
Hang on. B.J. Thompson.
Okay.
Defensive lineman B.J. Thompson in stable condition. 5th-round pick in 2023 out of Stephen F. Austin. Thompson appeared in one game as a rookie for the Super Bowl champs.
I'm sorry, so he was in meetings,
this was a meeting, not on the field.
Okay, gotcha.
Special teams meeting. Went into, had a seizure, went into cardiac arrest. So you don't know. Is there some form of, is that the seizure or is that the cardiac arrest that brought that on? I don't know.
No idea.
But wow, my goodness, I tell you what an offseason for the Chiefs. And now this one, obviously, there's nothing you can do about, but and prayers and thoughts with that young man. But I have had a tumultuous
adversity-filled off-season coming off that Super Bowl win. I mean, really, it started, if you really want to go chronicle this, and we don't talk about the Chiefs, but to this degree, but like ESPN or somebody in Kansas City could do a story on the last 4 months that started with a shooting at their parade.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like if any team is going to handle the adversity, it's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I know.
They've been put through the fire time and time again, and it hasn't showed any signs of slowing them down.
I guess, yeah, you assume that they will, but that's maybe a bigger assumption than we should have. I get why we assume they will and can.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, when Harrison Butker says hit stuff. Like, okay, imagine that would happen in Jacksonville. Like, you imagine I can't remember his name now. What's the kicker of the Jacksonville we just drafted?
Oh, Cam Little.
Thank you. Cam Little goes to Texas.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure how that I don't know. I don't know what it would be like.
Yeah, I don't know.
But, like, you put the vibe in Kansas City where it's like Mahomes, like, yeah, I don't agree, but, like, he's still our guy, things like that. Now, having some longevity in the NFL and having a rapport means something as well, but I just think every locker room wouldn't have handled the Butker situation like Kansas City did.
One last thing, speaking of kickers, the McManus situation continues to evolve. Obviously, the Commanders let him go. Dan Quinn spoke on it and said he didn't know until last week about the situation. Same time Doug Peterson knew. Yep. Does it surprise you that these guys didn't know about the situation? And what does it tell you about the situation? Was it out of left field? Was it not talked about? Was that because he was out of buildings to begin with once the season ended? How do you classify both coaches not having familiarity over a 9-month span with anything of this sort?
I mean, from Doug, I guess I'm not really surprised because he's not on your team anymore. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm a little more surprised that Quinn didn't know because, well, that's your starting kicker of your football team, or was your starting kicker of your football team. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if these allegations came out of left field, like there was no announcement, no nothing. But I feel like, and once again, this is more just me basing it off of like celebrity things more than like professional sports, but you always get to feel like there is some like inkling that, okay, something's about to go down.
Yeah.
Like, something's about to happen.
You hear stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. You've been in buildings where you hear stuff, and maybe players are insulated, or we hear stuff, or whoever hears stuff. I mean, there were no rumblings. I've said this before. There's no rumblings of this in London after the flight or rest of the year.
Which maybe it's a good thing?
Well, I would say
for the Jaguars, it's a good thing?
Yeah. That's, again, it sounds like I'm defending the Jags here.
No.
I'm not trying to do that. I would just say, I continue to go back to, like, I didn't see anything. This is where I think I would have saw something or heard something. And then we never heard anything else about it, even whispers. Did you see what happened there? Did you see this? Did you see that? Whatever. And even after he gets cut, released, all that stuff. Now, I will say this. If you go back to the Lambeau situation, that was one that never circulated before it actually came out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a dang good point.
And that had happened like back in, if I have my timing right, that was a camp episode from Urban, I believe.
But now, help me out here. Did they settle with, I don't know how it ended.
I don't know how that all ended, so I'd have to look it up.
Was it found not?
I don't know if it got thrown out or settled. I'm not sure. But the bottom line is that was a December suit.
Yeah.
That happened back, I think, in camp, which would have been late July, August. And I never heard about that either, so maybe we're not hearing about enough.
No, true, but like keep in mind.
But that was also coming out of COVID time.
But Urban. But if you're kicking a player, you're probably going to hear about it. Yeah. So like, I mean, I don't remember what happened with the Lambeau stuff. Was there a settlement? Did they drop the lawsuit? Whatever the case may be. But yeah, the fact you never heard anything about that kind of speaks volumes of. Well, then maybe you didn't hear anything about the plane either.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not telling you that the coaches should know. I'm just a little. I mean, and they could be just saying this in front of a microphone, too, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they were a little blindsided by it. And especially on the Commander side, to your point, like, is that not part of the due diligence? And it actually shows that maybe the Jags didn't know or anybody else didn't know this was coming, even in McManus' representation, unless they tried to hide that.
Well, but I mean,
which they could have.
Their job would be too, I think.
But like, I got to believe you cross-reference some of this stuff, right? Are we going to go sign this guy? Why? Maybe they just looked at the resume and leg and said, hey, we're good. He's a kicker. How many people have problems with kickers?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe it was a little bit lazy on their part. I don't know. I'm a little bit interested in the dynamics of this case. Now, that being said, you can argue what McManus's folks are arguing, that it's just an attempt to get money, and there's no truth to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, I'm no law expert. Yeah, I watch Law and Order SVU every once in a while, so I might as well be a law expert. But I'm very curious to see how this whole thing shakes out. Okay, so say, like, this thing gets dropped. Well, then if you're McManus, do you countersue? Because guess what, man? You just got your, you just cost you a job. I mean, you just lost your job in Washington because of said allegations. Absolutely. So then, I think what I'm gonna say I'm looking forward to it, because if it's bad, then I'm not looking forward to it. But what I'm saying, like, what I can't wait to find out is what the result's gonna be. Yeah. Is there gonna be a settlement? If there's a settlement and maybe you're not found good, but there's a settlement, well, guess what then? That's not a good look for your organization. Yeah. Okay. If it's found the charges are dropped and McManus is going to sue, okay, well, then here's another classic example of somebody trying to abuse the court system, get their own kind of paycheck, and it backfired. Now she's getting sued. Yeah. We'll see.
Now, what's interesting here, too, is if they did, and I wonder if this is a possibility, that they drop the charges and you agree that there won't be a countersuit. But I don't know if I'm McManus' side after this, after it cost me a job and my name's out there now for a couple of weeks and people are talking about it. Yeah. I'm not sure I would agree to that. It'll be pretty interesting to see where it ends up at the end of the day and how long it takes, really, and if he's on the team in the fall. Remember the punter, who I think from Buffalo, Ariza, remember? With I think it was an alleged also sexual assault situation.
Yeah.
And he ended up signing with somebody, I believe, this offseason, but he was out of the game for a bit, and I think those charges got dropped. That was, well, I mean, he fought that, and it took a while, is my point.
What's Josh Lambo doing right now?
Yeah, I don't know how much Lambo did get a tryout, I thought, last year at some point. So I don't know how much of that was on him saying I'm done with football and how much of that had to do with the Urban thing and the lawsuit thing, because I wondered that too in real time. It's like, did he just put an end to his career? When you're going to do that, who wants to take that on? But I do think he had a tryout after that with some team. I can't remember who.
So, by the way, the judge dismissed the lawsuit against the Jaguars with Josh Lambo.
They did?
Yeah, so it was dismissed.
Okay. The one thing that we never really have answered either, and I forget about this and all of a sudden then bring it up from time to time, what was the settlement with Urban? They fired him a year in of a huge deal. You know it was a mega deal to get him the coach.
Yeah.
How much did they end up having to pay him? Is that still being worked? Like, I don't know what the end result of that
maybe they're trying to wait to see what happened with the whole Lambeau thing, and then that got thrown out.
How long ago that happened?
I mean, well, that was May of 2022.
That got thrown out in May of 2022?
Please hold. Okay, so this report, this one's November 16th.
Okay, of 22?
22.
Wow, so it got thrown out right away. Interesting.
I guess.
Yeah, that was pretty quick. I didn't realize that. I got to pay attention to the news a little bit more while I'm doing this.
So the whole May thing was Urban Meyer Jaguars have yet to reach financial settlement.
When was this?
This was the May of 22.
Oh, that was May of 20. Yeah, but that's a couple of years ago.
Oh, I know.
So right
sure
now, you figure it out. They have. I just never seen anything. Maybe I got to look it up. And I forget about it. And then all of a sudden in a conversation like this, I remember. I'm like, I wonder how they did settle that thing.
Yeah.
Because that deal was like 5 years for, I don't know, let's just say $50 million or something.
Yeah.
He coached 13 games. Like, that was it.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break one final time. We'll come back, put a bow on the show. Anthony Richardson, you seeing this stuff out of Indianapolis, and how concerning is it for the Indianapolis Colts and that young man, the former Florida Gator? We'll talk about it when we come back here on the Brent Austen Show at Strings Sports Brewery in Springfield. The Martinos get when we put an order in, pepperoni pizza. We usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top.
Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jacks and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt.
And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m.
A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
We all have our favorite spots in town to eat, drink, and have a good time. And once in a while, we try a new spot. This new spot will soon become your favorite spot. It's 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco. Where else can you get unicorn fish? It was really good. They have local fresh seafood. Try a terrific burger or a Jack's Hot Chicken sandwich. The ambiance is perfect for any occasion.
The idea here is to have fun, have a good time. Whether you're chilling out on the couches, cozying up to the bar, having lunch or dinner, it's a throwback experience. 1937, when going out to dinner was like going to a party. They even have a photo booth. Who doesn't like a good photo booth?
We recently brought the entire team out to try it, and everyone said, I'm bringing my significant other here to try it as well. The new spot becomes your favorite spot. Make 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco your new favorite spot.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Hey, look at that. We haven't seen this in a while. The Jags schedule. The Dolphins opening up, and And it's going to be fun to get ready for the Dolphins game and Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
How about that? Jaguars. Man, I'll tell you what, one thing about the Jags, if they were to come out of the gates and beat the Dolphins on the road, that'd feel good.
Man, because obviously you got to put up points. So, because I don't see this being a 9-6 ball game.
I don't think
right? So, like, if they can beat the Dolphins, I think it's going to show that this offense is vastly improved. Trevor Lawrence has arrived, and yeah, I think there's going to be a lot to like.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about that, too, is you could have two of the newest rich deals in the National Football League squaring off with Tua and Trevor. Hey, speaking of quarterbacks, how much concern over Anthony Richardson? I think there's a couple of days ago, now I can't remember my days, if it was earlier this week or late last week, that he left a practice reportedly out of Indianapolis. And then I just saw something again today that he was either missing or on the sideline. I mean, the injuries are going to be a little bit of a problem, right? Anthony Richardson during individual drills only throwing left-handed so far.
What?
He said he's sore on the. He talked to the media just a short time ago. Said I'm good, just a little soreness, no MRI, nothing beyond ice treatment. This was expected. He said it's the only day he's been held out since his return to the lineup this spring.
Yeah.
And so coming obviously off the offseason and they elected to get the surgery when he was banged up.
Yeah.
So maybe this is just a little bit more of the recovery and a natural little setback here or there.
Yeah.
Every time you see him banged up or doing this or whatever, you're like, eesh, is Anthony Richardson going to be able to survive the NFL?
No, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's insane. Number one, like, why have him throw that?
I'm a little bit surprised at that.
So I wonder if there's more of just like he's trying to drum up some controversy just to have people talk about it, because it makes no sense to just go out there and throw it to your opposite hand for any reason.
Yeah, you're kind of asking for a storyline?
I feel like you are, yeah. As opposed to, like, what if he didn't throw? What if he wasn't there? Was anyone going to say anything?
Is this what?
It's OTAs. Maybe he has an excused absence. But no, you're throwing left-handed. People are going to start raising some concerns.
Seriously, though, every player in the NFL can get hurt.
Yeah.
There are some that we put the magnifying glass on a little more of, man, watch out, they're going to get hurt.
Sure.
Cam Newton started to become this way because of his style of play and how banged up he was, right? I mean, he took a lot on his body. I think we've had other players here in Jacksonville like Marquise Lee, who was labeled that way, and it's like, okay, but I don't think you can rely on him.
Yeah, do you think Zay Jones kind of fit in that mold a little bit?
Well, he had one good, one not, right?
Sure. So, but I'm saying like in the totality of his career.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember talking about the injuries to that degree. Maybe we just didn't know enough of how much he was going to bring to the table or overshadowed by other people. But I do feel like Anthony Richardson, until he goes and plays 17 games, we're going to talk about is he going to play 17 games. Lamar Jackson took this on a little bit the last couple of years, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
it's just going to be a topic until it's not a topic. It's like in Jacksonville, play calling is going to be a topic until it's not a topic.
Of course, and we have recency bias because he obviously didn't play his full rookie year, and now, like, whether he's banged up or something, like, yeah. But then he's getting put to sleep over a tattoo as well, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I want to show the picture of the tattoo. I want to get your thoughts on that. Maybe tomorrow, Friday Fits.
There we go.
On the tattoo, but the tattoo's been floating around a little bit, and there's a lot to it.
Oh, yeah. Very intricate piece of artwork. I guess we can save it for tomorrow in terms of how I feel about, getting put under to get tattooed. But, yeah, it'll be a good conversation for tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll do that on Friday Fits. Again, Anthony Richardson is so important, not just to, first of all, you root for the young man, really terrific kid. But to the Indianapolis organization, it's huge because they invested in that. But really to the AFC South and kind of the who's going where and who's super competitive, it's important because they let Minshew go, and I think who'd they bring down? Was it Carson Wentz? No, who was in Cleveland?
Oh, Case Keenum, is it? Is he still around?
Yeah, I don't know which one they brought in. Okay. But the bottom line is he needs to play. Like, he can't go his first 2 years and go 7 games this year and then get hurt. He can't be in and out of the lineup. You got to get 100%. And got to be able to play and got to be able to know, because Indianapolis has to find out, okay, do we even have a guy?
Of course.
Because if for some reason he either plays poorly or doesn't play a lot in 2024, there are going to be some severe quarterback questions going into 2025 for the Indianapolis Colts. So we'll see how it shakes out. All right, what you got planned? I mean, 10 for 10 shooting free throws. That's good.
Yeah, set a new personal best Brent Austen record here. At Strings, basically, went 10 for 10. Then I had witnesses, so I'm happy with it. Going to be a good exclamation point to a Thursday, Brent.
So what's dad duty look like today? What are we going to go do? We got to get charged up and play a little switch?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think overall the attitude was great today. So we're going to go to Publix, get some essentials, have some lunch. What do you want to do today? You want to go to the beach a little bit? Beach cruise on our bikes? Bodyboarding. All right, so maybe go some bodyboarding. Not bodyboarding. Yeah. Okay, we'll see.
I like it.
I mean, it sounds great.
It does sound
We'll
good.
see.
All right, Ronan, you were good, man. You got books. You got a little reading done. You're well-behaved. You hung out with us for a few hours. You should definitely be able to go bodyboarding.
Exactly. Then maybe make an appearance tomorrow at NBA Slam Poetry, too, as well.
All right. Pac-Man for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Charge the switch tomorrow, okay?
Charge the switch tomorrow.
Right. That's it from Strings Sports Brewery here in Springfield. We'll see you on TV tonight. CBS 47 and Fox 30.